just not want to get like alarmed with this. Okay.
Hopefully you guys can hear me now. Hello?
I mean, I can hear you.
Yay! Okay.
But I don't know about the audience.
I hope. Give me a wave if you guys can hear what's being said. Hopefully you can. Give me a thumbs up or some sort of communication by dance. Gals are back in town. Yep. Okay. Yes. Yay! Hi, Daydreaming. D is awesome. Okay. Hey, random person.
We don't even have an intro, do we?
We don't. Well, I normally do my welcome to Fairly Odd Gamers, where fairly odd gamers like us talk about fairly awesome games. There you go. That's super cheesy, right?
Yeah. Well, that works.
Whatever works.
That's not rehearsed at all.
No. So today, me, Phonax, and the awesomest Aidda, Captain Aidda, is one of the founding members of the guild, and she also does her own channel. We should put some links in the chat for your stuff. Anyway, she's a tuber. She's a tuber. We're going to talk about Guild Wars 2, Final Fantasy XIV, and Elder Scrolls Online.
And you're gonna change the title of the stream.
I really thought that I already had. God damn it.
No, it says fun guild stuff.
Okay,
Unless I need to refresh.
I think I've put it in just chatting, and it should say Guild Wars 2 versus Final Fantasy XIV versus Elder Scrolls Online. Just chatting.
I'll refresh.
Fingers crossed. That is hopefully what it says. Let's hope
Don't worry,
so.
I found out with every single podcast, there's always something. It's either audio or it's that something doesn't work, or
that's
the pod is crazy or something.
Hello, the random hair. Hello, Zach. Welcome to the stream. It's swapped for Hellblade for you. Oh.
Yes, that's happened to me too.
It's not what it. I feel like I should screenshot so that I can prove to you that I actually did change it. Hi, Emlyn.
Okay.
Hi, Emlyn. So, it's not going to be a super exciting visual stream. So if you don't like puppies, 2 puppies here. But we are just going to be chatting about the different game modes. Now, Aidda is the most organized person I know. So she's organized this. She has a list. She's a woman of many lists. So, would you like to kick off, dear heart?
Sure. So the reason that I wanted to have a podcast like this was because I'm always watching these like WoW refugees play Final Fantasy or play ESO or play Guild Wars 2, and it's always from their perspective. I've never actually found a video from Guild Wars 2 going to the other games and like what we as Guild Wars 2 veterans would want to see in our next MMO, or a supplement MMO if you want to have another game and still play Guild Wars 2.
That's me. Yes, a woman of many MMOs. Yeah.
Yes. Because we don't just play one. We all know that. Even if YouTube doesn't like it.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Guild Wars 2 is life.
It is. It's actually... you find out by playing something else how great Guild Wars 2 is. And how much we've got spoiled.
Yeah.
I talk very quiet, so.
I can turn up the desktop audio. Hang on, sorry. Let me do that.
I don't have my audio guide today, so.
Is that better, guys? Let me know if that's better located.
Hopefully.
In the chat. Yeah,
I can scream, but I'll lose my voice in about an hour.
You're clipping the red now, so you should be perfect.
Should? Okay.
Yeah, you should be perfect. Yeah.
So the first thing we have is that the boss here is going to talk mostly for the Final Fantasy side. And how long have you been playing Final Fantasy online?
Well, I started playing when it first launched, like way back. I think it was like 2012 it's first launched, and then I stopped playing because it was hot trash when it first launched. They had to reinvigorate the game. So consistently, I've only been playing really the last 12 to 18 months of Final Fantasy. So I'm relatively newbie. I know the basic systems. Dark Griever was meant to come and represent the Final Fantasy fam, but he's having some technical issues because of course we're having a podcast today, so why wouldn't he be? It must be a day ending in a Y. But I do know the basics and I do love the game, so we're pretty cool. And I've been playing Guild Wars 2 since beta. So.
And you play Guild Wars 1.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yep. I'm proper nerdy geek.
Now, I started playing Guild Wars 2 in 2015, right before HOT.
Ooh.
And I've been playing ESO almost every day for the last year since Somerset.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that, by the way. That was my fault, guys. If anyone's wondering, it was completely my fault. I emotionally blackmailed you into playing that game.
I know. But I've done. See, I'm so not used to like tuning own horns.
Toot away, dear. Toot away.
I've done all of the veteran dungeons, and I've done all the trials. I have one trial to do on Vet, and that's the newer one.
So for people who have no idea what any of this is.
Oh, okay. So from a Guild Wars 2 perspective, that would be. Oh, I don't know if it's equivalent to fractals, because fractals take a little longer to get the resistance. But basically, it's getting all the way to CM mode in raids and to CMs and fractals.
So
in about a year.
Is it like a standard dungeon that gets progressively more difficult? Is it different dungeons getting progressively?
God, that's both.
Both. Okay, no.
It's awful. Because what happened was that, at least from what I can tell, is that before Somerset, it used to be fractioned. Like you were like a high elf, and so you could only go like to the high elf areas. Mm-hmm. And then when one Tyria came out, that way you can go to any. Right. And so all of those dungeons are like considered the base dungeons, and if you do them, you get like experience per day. You get like a bonus.
Right.
So you can level. Really, I guess they don't have that in Guild Wars, but they have that apparently also in Final Fantasy. And you don't need. There's no real limit to, if you're a good player, you can do normal, but there's a limit on your champion points to do the harder content. So that it's automatically kind of.
And how does the game differentiate between good veteran players and new players? What's the?
Don't stand in AoE. I don't know.
Don't stand in the fire.
I mean, I could joke around and say, "Oh, there's an add-on that says don't stand here." I mean, it will actually like flash on the. I don't have those. I hate stuff like that. But
sorry, I had my WoW player head on because in World of Warcraft, in order to gate the different dungeons, they have a loot system whereby the gear that you wear has points. And
oh
in
no,
order
you
to
could
get
go in
into,
naked.
right? Okay, okay, there you go.
Yeah, there's and unfortunately, like there'll be a tank that will say they are a tank, but they're really a DPS because of the wait time.
Oh,
So, I mean,
bane
I
of
mean, that's one of the
existence.
reasons why I did tank, and so I didn't experience that until I started doing DPS, and I was like, I waited as a DPS, and you fucking like got through the line. So I just,
Don't lie. Don't lie, people. Be true to yourself. If
but
you're, yeah,
that usually doesn't happen in veteran.
yeah,
They kind like some dungeons you can do it on, like the low level ones, because
mm,
they know that you're gonna be like level 10. And yeah,
yeah,
the tank isn't gonna have any like skill or anything, but
yeah.
um, there's a high difficulty ramp up for dungeons in ESO. It goes very fast.
And would you say that the hard trinity is a good thing or a bad thing in the 4-man 5-man content for? Oh,
It's wonderful.
yeah.
It is so good. And there's a lot of people who respect like a good DPS. Like you need to have that for higher level stuff.
Hmm.
Um, the healer is kind of optional because if you're a good tank, you don't need the healer. The healer is mainly for the DPS, which sounds funny, or to like
That's
buff a group.
interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, like they're more quality on like being the one who can buff and then do damage. Like
Hmm.
that's what's really needed. And so, but you always need a tank and you always need two good DPSs. And so,
Hmm.
but there's a lot of dungeons that specifically say like the healer has to keep you at 100% health for the whole like a whole minute or something. And if they don't, then the whole group wipes.
Oh gosh.
So
Okay.
so there's like specific times where you need like a really good,
Yeah.
profession for
So
that.
there's like healing checks. There's a lot of
Mhm.
that. There's so a lot of we're talking about like WoW. Not I think there is like DPS checks in Guild Wars 2 as well, whereby you have to
Yes.
be able to do this and you have to be able to break this break barrier, or you have to be able to heal through this, or you're gonna end up dead. Yeah.
So how is it in Final Fantasy? Is there
There
like a
is
check?
there is very much checks on everything. The 4-man content it starts. It's a gentle ramp up. So the starting stuff that you start at level 15. And it's all related to story, so it's very much like the Guild Wars 2 personal story when you're playing through it, and then you go to the Ascalonian catacombs, and then you go to. It's exactly like that, and you have to. The story is I want to say cut blocked by these dungeons that you have to do in order to continue the story. So it really pushes people into the group content.
So the dungeons are actually connected to the main story.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Oh,
and the dungeons are
totally
all.
different.
It's totally different from ESR.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're all independent story,
Ah.
everything's. So and what happens is that the vet one will have more, will like expand upon it. So to listen to the whole thing, you have to do it on normal and then you have to do it on vet.
Ah, that's interesting. Because it so blah, blah. So in Final Fantasy you have set story pieces, and there are actually even dungeons and different. So there are so many 4-mans in ESO. Even after 12 months of playing, felt a lot. I still haven't unlocked all the 4-mans because some of them are related to the story that you play through, and I highly recommend playing through all the story of Final Fantasy. Especially Heaven's Ward, which is the best story I've ever experienced in any MMO ever. Okay, and then there are stories relating to different like achievements and maps and map events and map stories. And there's all sorts of things that you have to do to unlock the different dungeons in order to get the different. It's super complicated in Final Fantasy.
I cannot recommend the ESO story. I think it's so bland. And I love
Oh.
Elder Scrolls, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this one's kind of like I can see the writing on the wall. I can, there's no like real branching out. There's
Yeah.
no like, you don't really have a choice. You get some dialogue changes, but it's like you don't need to do the story if you don't want to. You can do dungeons, you can do PvP, you can do the map exploration. The map is okay, but
Uh,
I come to Guild Wars 2 for the story.
yeah. Is the open world story good? Does it feel like you're in a living world, or is it or is it not? Question.
The new zone is very cool. It's more of my pace. No, like if you're just walking across, you're not like. I'm trying to think of how to equate it to like Guild Wars 2. It is. It has very good lore. I'm trying to think of like, okay, so like when you're walking, the NPCs will automatically start talking to you in Guild Wars 2. They'll have ambient dialogue. There's even like YouTubers who are like, I just want to listen to the audio. They don't really have that in ESO because the idea is that they don't know exactly where you are in the story. So they don't assume anything. They assume that you have not done anything and therefore everything is shallower.
Oh right.
Because you might
Oh.
just do Somerset and you might never have done the main story yet, so they can't really put a lot of like they can put a cameo, but like they can't connect them a whole lot.
So it's not like the progressive story that
Mm-mm.
kind of engrosses your character deeper and deeper in Guild Wars 2. They're just
There'll
like
be
little
a
standalone slices.
there might be like a little bit of a cameo, like the minute or like the one single dialogue, but that's about it.
Ah.
So it's kind of like, oh, I wish they would have said that, or oh, like they kind of touch on it, but it's like they could do so much more.
Yeah, yeah, that's sad. That's sad. It would be
Mm-hmm.
nice for them to. It's nice to get acknowledgements of the things that you've done, which is one of.
And you can get that in the dialogue. Like if I go into a city that I have helped, the NPCs will say something. They'll be like, "Thank you for killing such and such," and it will be like the boss name. But outside of that, no one's even ever heard of you. You're no one.
Wow.
Kind of, yeah. And Elder Scrolls was like the first game where I really felt like if you're the champion in Oblivion, everyone knows that you are the arena champion everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Like you can't avoid it.
So
Or if you're a vampire, yeah.
So they've completely missed that translation from the standalone game into the persistent universe online. They've just lost that.
Because they assume that like the new Elsewhere, they assume everyone's starting a new character. So none of these NPCs should know who you are because you're brand new.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you're bringing your old character there, they're kind of going like, well, you're supposed to make a new character. Like, you're supposed to do this, player. Like, it's understood. So it's kind of, yeah. So whenever anybody says, oh, I can't get into Elder Scrolls because it's been forever, it's like, no, it's not connected. Just try out the new one.
Just jump in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not. I must admit, from a Warcraft player's point of view, it gets super confusing because there is a big, long, consistent narrative, and it doesn't. You can super easily get lost and not know what the heck is going on. So I guess it has its pros and cons. I guess for super casual people, that's an awesome feature.
Yes.
Yeah. But so for story, you're very much in the Guild Wars 2 camp.
I am. And it sounds like Final Fantasy is more that you have to play it in order.
I mean, I would suggest that. If somebody came to me and said, I want to get into Final Fantasy, what do I do? I would say, try the base game. I think it's basically free to play for up until, I think it's something like level 20 or something like that. And then play through the story, because the story naturally takes you through all the map, very much like Guild Wars 2. It takes you to all the different places that you need to go. You get to know all the main hero characters that will, your like companion characters who will accompany you through the story, and then it also leads you right through all the different dungeons, so you learn how to heal, how to tank, how to DPS. You learn the different areas, you learn the different boss mechanics as you play through it.
Oh, so even when you're low level, you learn. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you have it's very specific when you're making your character in Final Fantasy that you are picking a healing profession, that you are picking a tanking profession, yeah?
And it's even needed at low levels. See, that doesn't really happen until like level 30 in ESO, where you actually need to like kind of know what you're doing.
Mattis, I know why you're saying that, and WoW has some fantastic stuff. Sorry, so the chat is saying that story-wise, WoW blows every MMO out of the water, and I would almost have agreed with you right up until I played Heaven's Ward, because that story is just epic. It's deep, it's complicated, it's grown up, it doesn't pull punches, it's got political intrigue, it's got betrayal, it's got fucking magical flying dragons, and dragons that are real, like, impactful, deep, lore-rich, and amazingly visualized. So I would have agreed with you. And WoW, I think WoW's story is better this year, this expansion, than all of the expansions previous, despite the fact that their loot system is a hot garbage. But the Heaven's Ward, like the one criticism I have of Guild Wars 2 story is that it's fairly fluffy kittens, yeah? It's very rare that they kind of kick you in the nuts with a good story moment like they have recently. And it's a wonderful thing when they do, and praise to them. But if you want proper, grown-up, no pulling your punches story, not meant for kiddies, then Final Fantasy is, especially Heaven's Ward, which is free at the moment, everybody. The free expansion. And I don't get any kickbacks. That's the one I would say. Sorry, Aidda, carry on.
Oh, no, you're good. Let me see, daydreaming. So is it similar to Guild Wars 2 for the story? Yes.
Elder Scrolls.
The problem is that, okay, so say I want to make a new character and I own Elsewhere, it has to come from Elsewhere. I can't go back and say I want this character to be and start in, so like there would be Cantha or Nightfall. Like I don't have that. I can never go back. I will always get the same entry point until the next expansion comes out. So Somerset just like lapsed into like the DLC category. I can't go back and like make a high elf and start in Somerset. I can waypoint there, but I can't like actually start and like see like the cool NPCs and listen to that very first 5 minutes. Like I don't get that. I get the where everyone else would start.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad. Yeah, you kind of miss. Yeah, like I started with Morrowind, and that was like I can't say it's the best now, but it's one of the best starters. And it's gone. It's gone forever. You can't ever do it again. So it's kind of, they revamp it. So I don't know if that's a good thing or not. You always revamp the starting area.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I completely forgot about that. You do.
I know. In Final Fantasy, isn't it based off of like your starting class?
Yeah, so it depends what so there are 3 main cities that you basically get kicked out into. There's a shared cutscene for everybody who makes a character, and then depending on the profession class that you've chosen, it kicks you to either Limsa Lominsa, Gridania, or Thanalan, the city in Thanalan. Okay, my brain stopped working, but
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So there are three major areas. And so, for example, if you're a scholar, that's what I played, which was one of the healing professions. You start in Gridania. If you're a pugilist, it's the Thanalan. If you're, say, a summoner, then it's Limsa Liminsa. So.
Gotcha. So now that we're talking about classes, we can also talk. We can go into that too.
Ooh. Segue! Yay!
So Guild Wars 2 has maybe the easiest one. It's 9, and then elite specializations, but it's mainly 9. ESO has 6. Yes, I know every single skill almost.
Oh my god!
So how many is in Final Fantasy?
I'm just give me a second while I go to the Final Fantasy wiki.
It's that many. It's like insane.
Please remember that that I'm only substituting for Dark Griever, and it's his fault that I'm doing a poor job of representing this.
That's okay.
Okay.
It's a lot.
Class,
it's a lot.
Races, classes, jobs. So it's that no. Okay, so the right. So in this there are basically there is tanks, healers, and DPS. DPS range from physical DPS, as in melee, and ranged DPS. Okay, and so the classes are split up into principles of magic and war. And so you've got gladiators and marauders, which are tanks, arcanists, archers, lancers, pugilists, rogues, and thaumaturge, which are a mixture of the arcanist and the thaumaturge are magic ranged DPS. And
my brain hurts.
All the rest of them are physical DPS mixed between ranged and not ranged, and conjurers are the healers. And you also have additional professions classes brought in with the expansions. So you have astrologian, which is incredibly visually beautiful healer, but there's a lot. And also you actually have to level, like a magical class, your crafting skills. So you go out into the world, you level them up, you get specific gear for crafters. I haven't gone particularly down that particular pothole myself, but it's very deep. Everything is super deep.
So it's an upgrade system. So you start with like a lancer, and then you get to a certain level and you become a dragon knight or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, so you have
like
the base. You have the base stuff, which is you start as a scholar, and then as a healer you move on to the white mage, and you have to do each profession has its own set storyline, taking you to different places, taking you to different dungeons. A lot of them will have mounts specific that only that profession can get. Like, for example, the white mage can get a unicorn, and only the white mage. But once you've unlocked it, all of your other professions can use that mount. So
now I heard that you don't really need alts in Final Fantasy, that you can literally do any job by switching your weapon.
Yeah, you can learn any profession. You just go and speak to the trainer, and it has one of the best. So where Guild Wars 2 fails abysmally is to do with swapping out your stats, swapping to different builds. In Final Fantasy, you don't just swap out different builds. You can have several different build templates set up just to hot change your gear with the click of a button. You can have so that you can jump to so say that I wanted to jump in with Dark Griever and Tom, and I wanted to tank for them. I'm terrible tank, by the way, just full disclosure. And I panic. And all I do is click a button because I've got it already set up in the UI, and it furnishes me with all of my gear for a tank, and it changes my skills and weapon and everything, and it dumps me into that spec. So it's epic, awesome, brilliant.
Now ESO has an add-on that lets you swap really fast.
Ooh.
But you still need to get the skill points and everything.
Yeah.
To be viable, there's different for, like, if I was doing DPS and I wanted to do tank, I would get rid of a lot of my damage, bonuses, and I would change my armor, and my race would actually come into play. So I probably would just log off and get onto my actual tank class.
Right. So it's genuinely has a gameful impact, the race that you choose in Elder Scrolls.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's huge. Interesting. That's hugely interesting, because that is different from every other one that I've played, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not so much with the last patch, but it's still it's huge for PvP. It's huge for tanking. I mean, like, an orc will have a stamina regeneration, which is like so cool. But like a high elf will have more magicka. So it's like, it's kind of lends itself into certain classes. You don't have to, I mean, you can always go against it. It's not like it's a huge deal. It's, for the min-maxers. But
for the okay.
I mean, for role playing, I have an orc sorcerer who kicks ass, because it's like, wait, you're doing like thunder stuff on me. I'm like, yep. Because they're so used to seeing like orcs for like swords and stuff, and I'm like, nope, I'm gonna come out with the staff.
Bucking
and I'm gonna kick your, and I'm gonna win. Yeah.
Oh, that's
so so Final Fantasy has like 10. Is it 10 jobs?
Oh, well, they're also adding. So each expansion adds additional jobs. So generally they add one of each. So they'll add a tank, a healer, and a damage. They're not adding a healer. There's been a lot of controversy with the upcoming Shadowbringer expansion. But you can't
start. You can't start as that. You have to still do the base and then level up. So it's for the high-end content. Okay.
Yeah, it's for max level content, but the journey takes it. You cannot just jump into Final Fantasy and expect to get to max level in a week if you don't know the game. It requires a lot of skill, and you're not just playing through the story to get to different areas and unlock different things. You also have to play through your profession's storyline as well, because in order to unlock the skills you use with that profession, you have to play the story, you have to do the dungeons, you have to work through it. So it is very much about the journey in Final Fantasy.
There's no level 80 boost. See, I actually like that about Guild Wars, where if you don't like something, you can kind of skip it.
No, you can boost, but it costs you. You can buy a boost on the thing, but I would not at all recommend that in any way, shape or form, because the complexity of the skills that you have to use. So in Guild Wars 2, so hang on, I'm just gonna show you. So this is my skill bar in Guild Wars 2, and it is super limited, right? I have 5 weapon skills, or 10 with weapon swapping, and then I have my set utility skills, another 5 of them, okay? And you do have build trees and all the rest of it, and that's complicated enough. In Final Fantasy, it is insane. It is like a trained timetable of skills for different situations that you might want to bring here, and you might want to use this, and you need to do that, and then you'll have a special button that will appear while you're in a boss fight, and if you don't press it, you're going to wipe, and everyone's going to think that you're a moron, and I've done that many times, so yes, I admit I'm a moron. So it's hugely complicated, and if you do not take the time, especially if you're doing something vital, if you're just like rolling your face across the keyboard and just trying to do some DPS, that's you could probably get away with it. But if you actually want to heal or tank, you have to learn. So I did the worst thing possible. I boosted my paladin to level 60, not even max level, and now I'm like, yeah, I don't know what to do.
Aww. I did that with my necromancer. I used the level 80 boost on my necromancer after playing for 3 years with Guild Wars.
Yeah.
And I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
It took I had to do map completion in order to like really learn all the skills, but like I can't level again in Guild Wars 2. Like I'm sorry.
I don't. You got to know like from your mother.
Like once you get to a certain part, like I know about like the class, I know about auras, I know about synergies. I just kind of need to like get the muscle memory in there.
Yeah.
And it's really the only two classes I play is the Mesmer, because I've been playing it forever, and the Necromancer. Everything else I'm kind of iffy on. Yeah, they're level 80 from tombs. I totally understand that part, but like, yeah, it's kind of like a rush. It's a rush to the higher level stuff because of gear, because you want to get that gear to actually make you needed, I think. So I guess Final Fantasy sounds different, where you actually have to level and appreciate and breathe. Basically,
any class that, so if you're wanting to play at the bleeding edge, if you're wanting to be with a group of players and you're wanting to do the end game content, then you have to know what you're doing. I don't care what game you're in. Mm-hmm. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know your role. You have to coordinate with the people that you're playing with, or you're just wasting their time because they want you've agreed to do something specific with them. If you are just casualing it, you're fine. But in Final Fantasy, because the story is so tied to the dungeons and it's so tied to the raids, and that there are loads of raids as well. There are massive raids where there's like 25 people and like three different groups, Group A, Group B, and Group C, and then you have to go off into different parts of the massive raid that you're in, and if one group fails, then basically you've just wiped 25 other people. And then you've got 8-man content where you go in and there are also there are tiered layers of difficulty in Final Fantasy XIV. So you can go in and there's like a noddy version, an idiot's. I don't want to say idiot. I've said it.
Story mode.
Yes,
thank
you. Okay, that you can go in that has less mechanics. And then you can do it at difficult mode, and then you can do it at hard mode, and then you can do it at extreme mode, and each of them are giving you different rewards with a different level of difficulty, so that the sheer volume of content in Final Fantasy XIV is just bajonkers. If you didn't do anything else, you could just play that game for all the achievements and all the different professions, because on one single character you can unlock everything, every single class in the game, every single crafting class, every single gathering class, every single tank, healer, DPS, all of them. As long as you've got the expansion, you can unlock all of them, and then then every dungeon that you go into is different because you're coming at it from a different point of view as well. Okay. And all the stories.
So for Guild Wars 2, I have 14 characters.
Yeah.
I have all of them at a different jumping puzzle, so every day I can put F, I can make my money, and I have their pretty outfits. Because that's the end game. It's all the pretty outfits. Because I wouldn't be able to show them all off on one character. You're saying for Final Fantasy, you're gonna have like one character, like one main.
You can have.
Why would you have an alt? Why would you have an alt?
Okay, so I'm gonna advocate for not having alts.
Oh, okay.
So
gotcha.
So the first time you play through the story, you can't play through it again. It's not replayable. You play through the story once. So if you want to play through the story again, you're going to have to roll a new character. It spits you out at the start and you can play the whole thing again. So there's no replayability in respect of the story. You can do the dungeons until your face falls off, but you can't do the story in between. Okay? But I leveled my scholar. I got my white mage to level 80. I roll and I decide I want to try and play an arcanist. I want to be a summoner. Okay, all of the experience needed to get to max level as a summoner and play through the story of the arcanist summoner. I get 50% more experience because I've played it all before. So it reduces the amount of time you have to spend on each of and it also, you have to, on the story, playing through the story, playing through your profession, unlocks maps, unlocks dungeons, unlocks everything. And so if you start a new character, you have nothing. You can be a level 1 and have all the different mounts. So as soon as you've opened that mount, that character, it doesn't matter what level they are, can use that mount. Yeah, they can fly everywhere as a level 1 character, whereas in reality, if you're playing your first character, it takes you ages to get your flying mount. It takes you at least until level 20 to get any type of mount. Yeah. So there are many advantages to not alting it.
Gotcha.
But you can buy potions in game and out of game to change your race and your gender.
So see, I make about 1,000,000 gold in Elder Scrolls Online just from logging in my characters and doing the writs. And so I can buy anything I want.
Yeah.
I can get armor, I can get housing, I can get anything.
Yeah.
Just from doing that. That's so weird not to have an alt.
Yeah, it's a completely different mentality. But Final Fantasy also has one of the best in-game systems for fashion. But
those are fighting words.
Bite ya. Okay, go sell ESO for the fashion.
Well, first, okay, we have to talk about classes for ESO and
sorry. Go on.
And for Guild Wars. Okay, kind of got. Okay. So for, I guess I'll do the ESO classes. So there's 6. There's 1 brand new. There's a Dragon Knight that does like. My brain just went. It's mainly a tank. It can do a lot of shielding. There's Nightblade that is kind of sneaky, will steal health. There's the Sorcerer, which sounds like the magic class, and it is. There's the Warden, which has a bear and is kind of has frost spells and can heal. There's the Templar that is about using the power of the sun, so it can heal, it can do DPS. And then there's the Necromancer, which can turn itself into a pile of bones. It can crush things, or it can trap things and keep it immobilized. Any of these characters or any of these classes can do any role. So I can take my Dragon Knight and I can be a healer, and it's actually a lot of fun. All I have to do is put on a restoration staff.
Okay.
I can have it be a tank. I can have it be a DPS. I can have the Warden, have a bow. The bow skills are universal. Anybody can use the exact same bow. So from an economy standpoint, it's great because those weapons are always needed by everybody who wants to use a bow or a dagger or a destruction staff.
Yeah.
Builds are a little easier to understand because everyone has they're considered like global skills. Like the restoration line is the exact same for everybody. So it's easier to talk about. Class skills are very specific, and you can unlock them, but for a lot of builds they go, okay, everyone needs to have like a healing class or a healing skill because that just makes you more self-sufficient. So this is one way to always have a healing skill is from like this line. And so everyone has access to it. It's kind of refreshing because like if I find out that I don't necessarily like one class, but I like how it connects with something else from like the bow line, then I'm more likely to use it.
Yeah. Interesting.
And then you have Guild Wars 2 where you can start out as a warrior, and then their elite specialization can totally change how it plays, like with Spellbreaker.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice. I kind of go back and forth on which one I like more. And unlike Guild Wars 2, where you have to get all the hero points like each time, they just came out with you can now buy hero points from the gem store in ESO, and everyone's pissed off.
Yeah.
Because it kind of Because before it used to be like, oh, we're gonna have a train, we're all gonna get like the skill points and this map, and yeah, it's now, if you've done it before and you have it unlocked as an achievement, you can just buy it now, and everyone's like, shit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we can talk about monetization and the depressing state of affairs if you want to.
Yes. So I played Mesmer. So when I went to ESO, I started as a Dragon Knight because I really liked the whip. Just like I like the butterflies, I like the effects.
You liked the whip.
I like the whip. I have one of, for like a month I had this screenshot of like me whipping like 4 different tigers all in a cave, and I just had that, and I had the next picture of all of them dead, and so I made like a crop. It was really funny. I just had that on my desktop for like the longest time. But now that I've been trying like different classes, there's something simplistic about each class. Like you can kind of, like, it's one of the only times where I can actually go and I don't feel like I have a main anymore. I feel like I can play each of them equally from like one day to the next. I don't have to like, I still only really play Mesmer on Guild Wars 2. I feel like that's the only class I like really know. I feel like a noob.
Yeah, you should
try anything else.
People watching the stream should know that I don't care about how rubbish I am at playing the characters. I just enjoy playing the games. Aidda actually cares about being a competent gamer.
Yes.
So yes, there's a differentiation between us. So don't associate my newbity for her, because that's unfair.
Because I'm the achievement hunter. I try and get everything, and I actually try to help people learn it too. So
she's a good Samaritan. Yes.
I'll drag someone through the mud who says, I want to get this done. Okay, we're getting it done now.
You may regret saying that later. Yes.
I've taken a lot of people through dungeons that they never want to go to again. Like, well, you did it. You did it once. That's all that matters. You have the achievement. Yay. Okay. It's actually pretty rewarding, actually. Okay, so that's classes. So let's read some of these. Yes, I'm loaded in Guild Wars 2 also. I always talk with Sam about it, about how much money we make with alts. So I make around 800 gold every month on alts from Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I want anything, I just convert it.
Yeah.
The issue is that the goal is not to want anything. That's the secret.
What? Explain that for a stupid person.
Don't want anything, and that's how you'll have money. Because then when you really, really want it, if you take a picture and you sleep on it for a day and you go, no, I still really want it, then you can get it. But if it's one of those passing things, like, I don't know if I'll use it, or I might only use it on one character, no, I won't get it then. I only will get something if I truly will like use it on everything. Like this mount I have on like every single character, unless I'm making a video.
They're so cute.
This is my pretty, so that's real life experience. Like, if you want money, don't want anything, save it up, get what you really want, get the things that will help you get more money. No one ever believes me though, but
don't do what I do. Don't do what I do.
Just spend it all as soon as you get.
I do. You're making the assumption that I get money. That's nice. I like that. I like that idea. Can we go with that idea?
Pretend that you eat. Yes.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Oh, hey, Bill Cosby did literally nothing wrong. What? Sorry, that name is trigger happy, dude. I can't believe I said that on my stream. That is not my stance on the matter.
Okay, so we did classes. We've done. Let's talk about the subscription fees.
Dun dun dun.
Guild Wars 2 is free. Woohoo! Perfect price. There we go.
Guild Wars 2 is free. My Furry Barnacles Guild Wars 2 is free.
Well, you have to just buy the expansion as long as you log in. I mean, that's a really good. That's like, I've gone a year of entertainment with Path of Fire. So.
So that part's true. You know what drives me nuts about the subscription subsidy of really tiny shao bag space that they give you with your standard account? That is rhubarb and custard. That is not good. Would you concur? The bank space is teeny weeny.
Well, you just make your own guild just for bank.
True. You can do that.
I mean, it's harder to do now after HOT, but it's still possible. See, this is why don't be a hoarder.
Pet peeve. Oh my god.
Don't be a hoarder.
No, I'm not a hoarder, she says, opening her bags, and the chat cringes in horror. I
actively get rid of stuff, so yeah, I kind of have a spring cleaning every year, so during my account tour.
Yeah, so Steele's saying if Final Fantasy didn't have a sub, he would dip in one of it. Yeah. Yeah, there are pros and cons though. There are pros and cons to having a subscription. I think that it tends towards them having a lot more stuff in game, a lot more stuff not kind of locked behind the gem store cash shops that they have to support the game.
And ESO has a craft bag that you get with ESO Plus, and that's It's $14.99. I just say 15. It's $15 a month. And you get basically what Guild Wars 2 gives you for free, which is all of your crafting items go directly into your bank. And whenever you go to a crafting station, it's available. There's also loot boxes, which you can preview. I think they added that preview option. But you get deals on they call it the Crown store. So it's the store where you can get like home furnishings for like half off. And their mounts are atrocious. I always cry whenever I see a mount because I'm like, no, I'm going back to Guild Wars. Or I can color it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the mounts match the style of the game because it is it's got a very specific visual style in Elder Scrolls, doesn't it?
They're ugly.
Yeah. That would be. I was trying to be diplomatic.
No. So you get the first one free at 10, and then you can buy the like spotted. I don't know what horse types are. This brown and white. I don't know what they're called. You can buy that, and that's 52,000 gold, or you can get the black one, which is also 52,000 gold.
I think that's a bay, isn't it? The brown. Anyway,
that's the base. Yeah. And then you can get a white. You can get a white one if you buy the Imperial race. Yeah. Apparently, only they can have pretty white horses.
Yeah.
But they are even when I get one like from the loot, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, you got the map!" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go back to like the basic one because the basic one at least doesn't look all gaudy." But the only ones I like in the ESO ones are the achievement ones where you have to do something in order to earn it. That's it. They don't cost money. You just have to do the thing.
Yeah.
Those are good. Those are actually really pretty. And they have good footfalls, kind of like legendaries, but not as good. Kind of.
Yeah.
It's more like the jackal, like this one where it's like the pink thing on the back. It's not necessarily the footfalls. I don't know what that effect is. The ones on the back.
No, I would call that I would call that a footfall. Yeah, I think that qualifies as a footfall.
So yeah, but whenever I see a new one and someone's like, "Oh, I really like my mount in ESO," I'm like, "Oh God, if they only knew, Guild Wars."
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I've said this to anyone who will listen to me, but all the games that I've played, and I have played literally almost every single MMO on the market because I'm just an MMOholic, best mount system ever, best rigging of mounts ever, best visuals of mounts ever. I don't care what game it is. Elder Scrolls, Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft, SWTOR, what's the other one? There's Terra, there's that one with the boobs, Black Desert Online, all of them, the best mount system ever. Okay. Just, you can fight me in the chat if you want. I'll take you on. Would you agree with that assessment, Aid? Aidda?
Sorry. Yes, sorry. Yes.
Don't leave me!
I muted.
You muted.
I muted because I needed to type something and I didn't want.
Oh, don't worry about it.
See how loud it is.
It's okay. Look, you paid for those cherry MXs. You're allowed to tap on them. Okay. No one's gonna diss you for that.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about fashion because that's apparently what you want to talk about. We'll skip slightly and then we'll take a break. So
okay.
Everything you want to, so you show off if you want to show off your fashion in this game while you talk about fashion. That would be
fashion. Okay.
That would be inspired.
What?
You're saying Final Fantasy has the best fashion, and I'm just...
You're skeptical.
Flabbergasted, so that's why we're going to take a break afterwards.
Okay, so there might be fisticuffs after this, guys.
That's fine. Because I love the Guild Wars 2 system. I love it. So if it's even close, I might...
Ooh,
I live for fashion, so I'm...
Okay, I might have ruined your day and introduced you to another bloody game that you'll have to play. Okay, so if this happens, I apologize sincerely. So
to my husband, who has to pay for 2 games, then.
Yes. Sorry, Guru. Right. So,
yep.
Final Fantasy fashion. How can I frame this? So in Guild Wars 2, you have the fashion tax. Boo, fashion tax. Right? If I want to change my armor, I have to. Where's my wardrobe? So I have to spend these ridiculous coin things in order to change what I want to change. Right? I've got these transportation charges. Boo to that. Right? No, we don't want that. In Final Fantasy, it costs in-game currency to change it. Yeah, you can change it whenever you want. So they are charges. It's a crafted item in game, right? So you get the things, you buy them on the trading post board thing, and you can do it as much as you want. You can do it on the fly. You open up your inventory, and as long as you have the item that you want to transmog into, you can change it. And you're thinking, well, that sounds a bit rubbish. You've got a fantastic access to everything in Guild Wars 2 whenever you want to. But what Final Fantasy has over Guild Wars 2 is they have templates. So in each city there is a room that you go to log out, and in that room there are toys, and there's a book full of all the adventures with all the cutscenes of everything you've ever done that you can play through at your heart's content. And there is also that's amazing. That's another system that they desperately need in Guild Wars 2. And they also have armor chests, and you can store items in your armor chest, and you can make up fashion templates. So I think there's like 13 or so of them, and it's basically you set it up, you put in the armor that you want, and then as long as you're in a non-combat city area, you can change to the different sets that you've set up on the fly.
So it's like saving the outline.
Exactly. You can save.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't change what you're wearing, it just changes the aesthetic of the armor. And you can there's something like 15 of them. It's amazing. And they also have like in-game hairdressers where you go,
now,
you pay.
Does it cost money to have it
costs
saved?
Gold. Does it cost?
Okay,
No,
so
it costs a charge. It costs a charge of the crystal that you use, but the crystal is not paid for by Gemstore. It's gameplay. It's game related.
See, that's where it's different in ESO. You have to buy it on the Crown Store to be able to swap.
Okay.
Swap outfits. Yeah, it's called an outfit charge. But you can do it on any character, and you can swap as many times after you buy it. But
yeah.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
you want more than like 2, you have to buy another outfit token.
You get lots of them. Now, if Dark was here, he would be able to tell you more about this because he is more experienced in the game than I am. But the outfit system is gorgeous, and but like in Guild Wars 2, if it's a heavy piece, it can't go on a light armor. Yeah. So it's the same. If the armor is specific to a white mage, only a white mage can use it. But any white mage that you have can use it.
See, that's totally different.
Yeah,
I can do anything.
You can do anything in Elder Scrolls.
I can do heavy if I'm a light caster. I can do medium. There's no butt cape. I can change my sword to look like a dagger as long as it has like a pointy end. Like I can't change a sword to look like a staff, but I can change staff looks. I can change that with my outfit token.
Yeah.
So like it even keeps the color. There's less color options in ESO, but more of them are based off achievements.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So everyone's always doing those achievements, which is unlike Guild Wars, where it's like I feel like you have to play like the first 2 weeks, or otherwise you won't ever get the achievement. Because I'm still trying to get the Shatterer back piece to like not fly, and I even played this weekend. Like I played Friday night, and that's all. I just waited for the Shatterer. I had 3 characters all there, so if I moved one by accident, I would be like, "Oh, the Shatterer's coming up. I'm gonna go over there." I still haven't gotten it because I wasn't able to play during the first 2 weeks of when the Shatterer got revamped or whatever. Yeah, I'm still trying to get it.
Yep. Damn, that sucks.
I have everything else, but I can't get into a map that either makes it to where it doesn't jump at all, like Smash the Dragon, and or the no fly one, which you have to get like 20 times. Like I haven't gotten, I got 0.
Yeah. Oh, bum.
Yeah. But I can still do all the achievements from all the old content in ESO because people are always coming in. They're like, let's do the achievement. We get it done. I can do it with a pug. Yeah.
You might want to. It's totally side note. You might want to. You know that we're in the Lion Plaza, right? That guild grouping.
Yes.
You might want to put what you might want to. If you're, you might want to put something in there and see if you can arrange a group.
We did that last year and I still didn't get it.
Son of a tomato. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. I'm not that worried about it now because it's. I'm trying to get the PvP back piece, but.
Wow.
Yeah.
Godspeed.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I will say that in Final Fantasy there are lots of pieces that are neutral, that anybody can wear. So it's not just all the armors are locked to either a profession or a weight or whatever. There are lots of things, and there are some beautiful, beautiful armor skins.
So what about color?
You can dye, and there are gorgeous dyes. But dyeing is actually one of the rare areas where you can make all the dyes in game, but you can actually buy dyes on their gem store. But with Final Fantasy, the microtransactions, most of them, unless you're getting a big mount, are actually micro, amazingly. So it costs you like $4 for like 20 dyes that are pure white, brilliant white, or like gold and stuff.
Oh, see, there's only like one white in ESO. Oh. And then there's like gray. So it's like you don't need to have like a degree in color theory to know what color it is. It's like this is white.
Yeah.
There's
no oh my god, the dye system in Guild Wars 2. I mean, they have beautiful dyes.
It's very subdued. It's very subdued in ESO because they wanted to make it look realistic. They don't want super shiny. Yeah.
Oh, it's understandable.
Yeah.
It is understandable.
All of my focus is like I don't even think they have like a mug. I think you can get a mug from like the Crown store, but I think like the shields really look like shields. Like they look heavy duty. They have the strap on the back. You can get ones that have like the little spikes on them. They look like shields. They look like heavy.
Oh.
I can't think of any shield like that in in Guild Wars. I think of my shiny.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually looks like Warfare in ESO. Like the armor looks.
Hang on.
Even the light armor looks good. Like there's like some people
challenge
have
accepted.
the town clothes.
Challenge accepted. Hang on. Let's just. Who's got a shield? Hang on. I'm just logging my mez and see if I can find a shield that actually looks like a shield.
Like a shield.
Yeah. Challenge accepted.
Because I can't. I'm thinking even of my Guardian, and I'm like, I have a shiny, pretty shield. Yeah.
So someone's saying that you can buy Guild Wars 2 dies. Yeah, you can, and they used to drop quite a lot in the earlier content.
Mm-hmm.
But they kind of yeah, I've got a shield on this character. They put the kibosh on that a bit. With when they changed up the loot system. I don't think they improved it for the better. So let's just have a look. So I would say that it's probably better if I actually just go to my bank, so you'd be able to get a better look at the
preview.
Yeah. Let me make sure that I've got my. You can make your interface massive so that you can actually see things in the preview better, because the preview window is too shao for my liking. So offhand, focus, touch. See, there are countless things that I haven't actually unlocked. Right. So the
shield. Yeah, it should be an offhand.
I mean, that looks quite fairly gigantic and mean. I don't know whether you can see that on my stream. There's probably a bit of stream delay.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking. There are some that look like that you wouldn't be able to lift them up.
That's kind of close.
It's close. No cigar. Hang on.
Yeah. I mean, I have a bone dragon shield for killing dragons.
You have a bone dragon shield. Let me. This one, I mean, I guess that's smaller, but I think that the merciless stuff is actually quite good looking. It's super cheap. It's something like 15 gold each on the trading.
I mean, that looks like the lion one looks like something you would put on the wall. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
It is. Like whenever it's like more of a motif and more of a, I feel like it's like the guards who like just sit in front of the throne room just to like.
Yeah, chat. If you can think of any shield that is really kind of heavy.
That looks like a shield. That's.
Oh.
I mean, the Norn ones are.
The Seraph one has actually got a face guard as well. That's quite wacky. It's the weapon only. That looks. I mean, it's even got some gashes and some.
Guild Wars 2 does shiny very, very well, but it doesn't do realistic like at all.
Yeah,
That was the closest, yeah.
I mean, there's a few that. What I would like them to do, especially in the wardrobe, is separate out the stuff that you get via gaming from the stuff you get via the gem store, right? That annoys me.
Oh, that you can get achievements for buying the.
Yeah. I just have them in a separate window.
The whole weapon set.
Yeah. So that people. I don't know. I mean, I
love the Guild Wars 2 fashion. That's why I have 14 characters. I have to have all the different outfits. I have the black and white, with the lightning for my elementalist. And I had to make the elementalist, so I have the little sparks on the hands. And I'm always saying that whenever I do screenshots, it's always I have to make sure that I'm in that. My purple mesmer. I have my Guardian is called a reporter because the Guardian is a newspaper, and so it's called Reporter Aidda. Like that's how far I go.
Do you read the Guardian?
I used to, but now I'm poor and I don't read.
Oh, just saying, it's online.
I don't read. I know. I don't read as much as I should, but. Because now I'm an audio junkie, and so I listen to a lot of.
Actually, the gargoyle shield is actually
podcasts.
quite cute. I didn't realize. Look at that little face. That's such a cutie little monster in
all
the middle.
all the sparkles and light effects. I feel like sometimes you know how you can have the flaming sword will give off like a light source? I wonder if they'll ever do that for a shield.
Oh, that would be nice. I mean, there are a couple with light sources. So, for example, the one that you get, the Sovereign Protector has a golden light source on the helm. I'm sorry, the lightning effects is from the Shatterer backpack that you've been trying to get that she's wearing. I'm not trolling you, I promise. I didn't realise that she had that. I didn't realise she had that backpack. But no, I guess they don't really go even. I guess they haven't gone for hyper realistic shields.
Mm-mm.
It would be interesting if they did a set, like properly.
Like you can even have bare feet in ESO.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's super nice. Like if you want to have like snowy boots, you can get snowy boots, and you can get the whole snowy character kind of feel.
Oh, you like the glint one most? Yeah, I've got Glint's Bastion. That is a beautiful shield, but that is a riot of particle effects, dude. It's tormentor, daydreaming. I'm not tormenting him.
What I actually like, so if I'm on my Mesmer and I don't really have like a shield, there's that graphic that looks like a shield.
Oh, I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about? It looks like a purplish blue. And it looks like just a basic shield. It looks like a U on top, and then it comes to a point on the bottom, and it's easier to see on Guardian, I think. But basically, it's whenever you have a buff. Like, those effects, I really like.
Yeah.
Like, those really basic kind of, like, I can see what's happening. I can, like, on my flaming shield, I can see the little flame. Like, there's nothing like that in ESO. Like, there's nothing. And so, like, when you're talking about shiny, yeah, Guild Wars 2 has it for me. Like, the system is so nice. Even the charges are okay because I have enough. Aegis, there we go.
Aegis, yeah, I got my Guardian. So I'm having a quick impromptu kind of spin around of all the different characters. Oh my god, I've forgotten to do the account tour the other day. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
That was my bad. That's my bad.
So we need to take a break because you probably haven't had any of your... Was it coffee?
Oh, no, I totally necked that when you were talking.
Oh, you just... Gotcha.
But we can have a break.
I have to go to the little girl's room.
Okay.
So 10 minutes. If you get back before me, you can read chat. If I get back before you, I can read chat. So if chat has any questions about ESO or Guild Wars 2 or Final Fantasy, we can kind of...
Yeah, if you want to put a question, put the prefix of the game, ESO Final Fantasy for it, and put question in big letters so that we don't miss it, because I'm a bit daft. Okay. I'm going to put that
on. I'm half blonde, so yeah. Or what you like most.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna
question what you like most.
Yeah, and I'm gonna put up that screen that says Fairly Odd Gamers, because clearly we are Fairly Odd Gamers, as you can tell.
Yes.
Yep. Be back in a second.
So 10 minutes. Okay.
10 minutes.
Turn off the mic, because that's important.
I will. chat, and we're back.
Hi!
Hi! We're back.
Okay, so we're going to answer the question, how would you rate the communities in each MMO? So we're going to start with Guild Wars 2. I would think that Guild Wars 2 community is somewhat split. There's the very social, very vocal Twitch, Discord, Reddit, YouTube, and then everyone else who doesn't do that.
Yeah.
And I think everyone who doesn't do that is actually bigger than the vocal minority. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm going to guess that.
Yeah.
So from the Reddit YouTubers, there's the very nice people who are people, and then there's the we're going to cry about everything. That's true in any MMO. That is very true in any MMO, but it feels it's very, very vocal. It's like super loud in Guild Wars 2 than any other MMO.
Clearly you haven't been on a WoW forum, but carry on.
I haven't. It's one of the reasons. I also refuse to read Reddit in Guild Wars 2. And I PvP, and I turn off map chat. But in ESO, if you ask a question, you're going to get the more mature, funny answer more often, in addition to the helpful answer. But depending on where you are in Guild Wars 2, you're always going to get that toxic, look it up online answer. So I'm kind of, depending on what zone you're in, like if you're in a newbie zone and you ask your newbie question, you're going to get a normal answer. If you're like in Mount Maelstrom and you ask a question that's like kind of basic, they're going to be like, you're dumb and I'm not going to answer you. And so you're going to wonder if anybody else is on the map.
Yeah, I mean it's a fair mix. So you will always run into people in every community who are sweet and kind and helpful, and there is a lot of people like that in Guild Wars 2. But especially if you're in the World v World or PvP communities that tend to be a bit more competitive.
I can go through an entire day of PvP. I can go through an entire day of PvP in the ESO and not have anyone talk to me.
Wow.
It won't be good. It won't be bad. We might lose. We might totally kick ass. They won't say anything. It's like we all have our own music. We're all in our own little headspace, and it doesn't really matter because, we know that it's a numbers game, but we don't have to wait a long time to get another game.
Yeah.
So it's like, why bother typing?
Yeah.
It's kind of, Yeah,
I mean, so I think that there's also a lot of crossover with all the communities. So the Final Fantasy community are super cute and super nerdy, and so are the Guild Wars 2 community. And you'll find a lot of people like either the franchise, not necessarily the game, but a lot of people love Final Fantasy who don't play Final Fantasy XIV online. Yeah. And there's a lot of people who like the art style and the community of Guild Wars that either don't play it anymore or just like watching it online. I get so many comments in my YouTube videos that they just come for the visuals, that they don't play the game. Yeah. So it's interesting. So I think that there's a lot of crossover. And I think that it's better to look at the MMO community as just that. An MMO community. I think the one MMO that is different from that, from my point of view, that I've ever experienced is the Star Wars community, because Star Wars fans are Star Wars fans. Yeah?
I think Eve. Hearing my husband talk about Eve and the spreadsheet game, that is ruthless. that is a real-time job.
Yeah.
And that's totally... That's not an MMO. That's like the life.
But that has its own insular bubble, and I think that people who love Star Wars have their own kind of community bubble and community ethos. But I think an MMOer is an MMOer, and I genuinely. So let me know, agree or disagree in the chat. Actually, we've got a couple of questions now. Zayma's
Well,
asking ESO question as well.
Let's stay with the community, because it's also like when I watch. Oh, this might be weird to say, but when I watch your video and I scroll through your comments, they're very positive. You're a very positive person.
Oh, thank you.
Great, wonderful. But the majority of, if I watch a stream like with Inks or with Peachy or with Wind Potatoes, if one of them says something wrong, chat will murder them.
Ooh.
Chat will go after and say, no, that's not what the lore says, blah, 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 blah. Like, you have to be on your toes.
Ooh.
And you cannot say, I'm general, or, like everyone has their, like, build set up. It's like, this is where you go for the build. So it's kind of dangerous in that regard. If you're a new streamer on Twitch and you say you're new, people from Guild Wars 2 will actually help you. But they'll only give you maybe like a month before they say you're not new anymore. Okay. I can still say that I'm new in ESO. Yeah. I'm not. Like, in most cases, I'm not.
You're not a veteran, though. You're not a veteran.
I'm not a veteran.
You wouldn't be classed as a veteran. No.
And I'm not toxic. So
yeah.
So if I say, like, this is my third time doing healer on this dungeon, yeah, they're going to go a little easier on me. They're not going to go as fast. There's not that speed community aspect that Guild Wars 2 has. Like, it's always about speed. It's always about being the most efficient. There isn't anything like that in ESO. Yeah. When you watch an ESO streamer, there's really only 3 things you're going to watch. You're going to watch dungeons, you're going to watch PvP. You're not going to watch story because you don't want to be spoiled.
Yeah.
You're never going to watch story. And the main reason that you watch is because you want the tips. For a Guild Wars 2 stream, you want to hear that toxic PvP screaming, I hate my life, kind of, like, that seems to be the dominant community focus,
that
right?
Would explain why my streams don't do very well.
Well, it's also on Saturday is not really a Guild Wars 2 high.
Is there a day for streaming? Nobody told me
this. Yes. So for Raiders, it's Monday because that's when reset happens, and so that's when most streams happen for raids. Okay. It's on Monday, and Chad is always very vocal about, you should do this, or you should use this class, or you should use this skill. Like, they'll actively comment on it. And then other people will just listen to you chat, and you can listen to the music and you can kind of zone out a little bit and read chat every so often, like every 20 minutes or something. But mainly it's like fractals on like Thursday nights. Like, that seems to be, at least that's what I found. I PvP is every day, but
okay. So right. So as to my overwhelmingly positive chat, I have been genuinely lucky. I don't know whether it's because of how I put my content forward, or how kind of
who your target audience is.
I just put out content that I make that I enjoy, and people who like it watch it. That there is no more thought behind it than that. That I've made content, or the type of content that I'd like to see, and the content that you've suggested, like the whole Fashion Wars thing, if people don't know, was Aidda's idea. She pushed me into doing Fashion Wars because everyone liked the way that my characters looked, and it just went from there, didn't it, Han? Mm-hmm. So you have Aidda to thank for all the Fashion Wars content. She is the queen of ideas.
She helped me with all my dyes, and we had we stopped like a whole story mission just to talk about fashion. We did. Like, we're doing this. Like, we're making a video on it.
But I do get toxic comments. I get some very strange comments. I've had a couple of comments where I felt like quite concerned about the person making the comment, to the point that I think that they might be unwell. But it's as a percentage of the comments that I get, it is genuinely reflective of the amount of positive. Like 98% of the comments and feedback from the videos I get is genuinely positive.
Boss, just seriously, take a random streamer, take Wooden Potatoes, read through his comments. You'll cry.
Yeah,
it's sad. It's just like,
yeah,
it's a YouTube thing. It's like, where is this?
yeah. And I don't actually, I only, so if you're in my comment section and you're saying that you don't like my video, I'll keep that. If you're saying it's a rubbish script, I'll keep that. If you're saying other things,
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for the follow, Leary. If you're saying other things, some crazy things, then it's only when it gets to that level of, dear God, I wouldn't say this in a room with any other human beings in it, that I'll remove it from the chat. So I don't mind criticism. And I actually, when people say, oh, this isn't right, or oh, the audio here, half the time it's people saying I'm whispering because I'm quite softly spoken. And that's just how I talk. And I do have like a narrative tone that I get in my head when I start to do the narration. And I can't seem to turn that off. But yeah, I'm super lucky. So as to that side of the community and the Twitch people who I've interacted with, everyone has been universally lovely, like you see in the chat today. So that's my experience.
How's the Final Fantasy community?
Sweet and nice and lovely. I mean, I've only done a few videos. There's only been a little bit of feedback because you really need to you have to make a lot of content for people to notice you. And still today, I've been doing YouTube. I've been doing this for about nearly 200 videos. The vast majority of them on Guild Wars 2. And still people are, oh, I just discovered your channel today. Oh, I didn't know you made this type of content. I really like it. I really don't like it. But still people are discovering the channel. I think it's the old adage of you become an overnight success. It takes about 10 years. Yeah. Yeah. So all I can speak to is the people that do see my stuff seem to be overwhelmingly positive about it. But I'm also super honest when I mess up. I don't pretend to have knowledge that I don't have. I don't pretend to know everything, and I don't pretend to be an awesome gamer. I'm super honest at how rubbish I am, how newbie I am, how I'm here for the fun and the game and the community and the story.
If I did a search for Guild Wars 2, I would find Wooden Potatoes. I might find the actual official Guild Wars 2 channel.
Very rarely, yeah, you might.
But I would probably find Mighty Teapot if I was doing it on Twitch, because he's every day.
Yeah,
and that would be about it. Like like 3. You might find Peachy if it's during like the stream and she's being hosted, but then that's about 3.
Yeah.
Do you know the 3 for the Final Fantasy online?
No.
You don't know. Okay.
The Final Fantasy is so small, and there are so few people doing it. I could recommend a couple of. So Work to Game is one of the Final Fantasy YouTubers and streamers that I know, and there are a couple of American guys who do a lot of Final Fantasy content, and they're really sweet, and it's a really positive, really friendly, really open community that they've fostered around their channel. And they do.
Is it English?
It is. They're Yanks. They're your cousins, dear. And
gotcha.
And they're lovely people, and they do a lot of talking to stream I guess they're like Wooden Potatoes, but with a camera. They'll talk, and they talk about their lives, and they have families, and they're really nice. So, and they're
actual people.
They're actual
wow.
human being. I know, right? It's crazy. And they're not shouty and over the top, but they just love the game. They talk about it. They're really nice. I should actually I can put some links. I'll put some when it goes up on YouTube and I save it. I'll put some links in the bottom to them, and there's a couple of other people that I look at on YouTube, but I don't tend to have the time to watch a lot of streams because of the nature of content creation.
Yes.
which it just, and as you know, it just sucks your time away like nothing else.
And you just think about it all the time.
You do.
You're like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's write that down.
You need to check out Aidda's YouTube, because Aidda has got an absolute metric ton of content. Not like it's good quality content. There's a lot of it.
It's not rubbish.
It's not rubbish. It's not rubbish. It's good content. I like it.
It's somewhat old, but it's still good.
And you're making some more, are you not? Putting Aidda on the spot. Yes.
I am. I have a backlog. So ideally what I want to do is have a good backlog before I start putting it to public, because of the YouTube algorithm. So that it's coming out like every Friday. So I want to get like a good month before I start putting it out, so that way I can it usually takes me about a week now to do a video. So from the ESO community perspective, the YouTube scene is lacking. There's Dots Gaming, which he's English speaking, very down to earth, reminds me a lot about Inks. Really, he has like, instead of having like all the guides and having like all of them be like 10 minutes or 20 minutes, he has the complete ESO guide that's like 3.5 hours.
Wow,
don't watch it all at the same time. Yeah. But for his summer set, he had like 1 million views.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it's kind of like, okay, I can understand him. It's relatable. I can find out exactly where it is. It's literally like the Bible for ESO for any starter people. But on Twitch, it's dominated by Ferguson, who is kind of like a mix between Wind Potatoes and Mighty Teapot, who does the Alliance, which is like the PvP world versus world. And he'll have anywhere between 7,000 to 8,000 people watching him every day.
That's amazing.
Regardless of what he does, he has to do ESO. He loves doing ESO. He can answer. He's like the walking definite, like anything you have a question of, he'll actually answer straight face anything you have.
He's an encyclopedia of Elder Scrolls.
And I can't understand a word he says.
Why? Where's he from?
It sounds like a cross between like British and German.
Right.
So it's a little fast and it's very witty. And if I had closed caption, I probably would watch it. But right now, Twitch doesn't have that option. And so I kind of have to ask, and then usually chat will also answer. And so that's the good thing about having so many people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very, and it's a good thing or it's a bad thing. It's the ESO is very dominated by German speaking, which is great because they can speak English, but I'm kind of like, I feel like
kann ich nicht verstanden. Bitte langsamer. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And they have it's there's that delay of trying to figure out like what that word is, and it's like, okay, and they're very not. It's more of the nonchalant, like, why are you asking this question? This is a newbie question. Go to my website. Like, that's the answer. And I'm like, I don't want to go to your website. I want to know live what the answer is, because I read your website and it's very nonchalant there too.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. Like, I need Duffy or I need Ian.
Yeah.
And there's not, I mean, Ian used to make ESO guides, but it's nowhere close.
Aidda.
Don't.
Is there a niche in the market that you can get? No.
Because the problem is, this is what I found out, was that everyone has done the things that I need help with like a bazillion times. So you just join a guild and you just go into their little run of skill points, their little run of world bosses, and then your guild helps you. Like, your guild actually helps you. Like you don't necessarily need, you could just join the party to join the guild, but they'll do it every day. And so there's not any content that isn't done.
Yeah.
And so there's no need for a video because you can just join live right now. Yeah.
I mean, I would say that if there is a niche, if you struggle to find it, then there is a market at least to pointing people in the right direction to where to get the information.
Yeah, there's no lore right now. There's no lore channel for ESO, so I kind of either want to push you into it and I can help you with that, or I just need.
I like to do the lore. I like to do the lore. You know me.
What I basically need is to have someone who hasn't done the dungeon and will be okay reading the books in the dungeon where they're found.
Yeah.
Because what happens is that if you do the entire dungeon and you come back, it's like, well, we already beat this boss, and what they say corresponds with what the book says, and now I have to, and I just kind of go, I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I need, a group of 4 who would be willing to like do a dungeon in an hour, not in the 30 minutes and click through, and
yeah.
Okay, well, now we got lots of chat, so we should do that.
So
that's the community part.
Okay.
Did that actually answer? Do you want like a number score? I don't know. I don't think number scores are good, so.
I hope D let us know if we have talked enough about community.
Community.
Please, let us know. Okay. So Zayma is asking a question. So there's Guild Wars 2 ESO. To me, it seems like MMOs in general tend to take a lot of players' time. How can you play more than one at a time and not get overwhelmed? Do you think you would enjoy participating in, one more if it was only one player instead of jumping back and forth between the two? I don't know. I mean, so yes, I skim the surface. I haven't delved deeply into the kind of hardcore, focused endgame, dedicated myself to a game since I stopped raiding endgame in World of Warcraft, where I used to raid 5 hours a night, 6 nights a week. Okay, so I don't do that anymore. That's not good. It's not good for your mental health, kids. It's not. Don't do it. So I skim the surface. What I get out of the game is what I'm interested in. So if there is a nice mount that I want to unlock, like at the moment I'm trying to unlock the Sky Scale, I'll jump into Guild Wars 2 to do that. The most important thing for me is playing through the story. So once I've played through the story and I've unlocked the bits that I'm interested in, I'm happy. That's me sated. And the rest is just community and playing with my friends and having a laugh. So that's
so hard for me.
Yeah.
I'm mainly a mono gamer. I play ESO about 5 hours every day. And I play Guild Wars 2 maybe 5 hours every weekend. Maybe. I usually do World versus World now because I'm trying to get the legendary. But the only reason I can go back to Guild Wars 2 is because I had that mono gaming idea with Guild Wars 2. So I could probably take a break. Well, I probably can't. If I stopped playing Guild Wars 2 for maybe more than a month, I would definitely feel like I would feel more noobish than I do now. Like I don't think, like, I can play Zelda, like Breath of the Wild. I can play a single player, like, I can't think of any other single player games I played, like shooter games, or like Frostpunk. Like I could play Frostpunk for like the 2 weekends it takes me to like do all the scenarios and easily go back into any game. Like that's what I like to do. I don't think I could do 3 MMOs. Not unless like I would cut down on like so much, and I would feel like I would lose out. I feel like I would get stale, or I wouldn't be at my peak.
Yeah, because you like to be competent. I don't care at all about that.
Yeah.
Aidda actually likes to be able to play the game.
But it's also more about it's more about the people. Like, why would someone want to raid with me if I haven't raided since the very last raid? Like, why would they pick me? They would pick the person who was there last week. I think of it more from the social aspect. Like, why would someone pick me if they could take someone who was there for the raid last week, or the week before, or the week, like, you would want the steady person, even if they're not as good. Maybe.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
So in Final Fantasy, there is a raid finder, whereby you sign up for a raid, and it puts you into a automatically generated group. And it does it very similar to World of Warcraft. You have to have a certain item number on your gear that makes sure that you are strong enough to be in that content. And then as long as you qualify for that, you can sign up. You automatically get thrown into the raid, and you can play the content. Does Elder Scrolls have that?
Yes. But I would never recommend doing brand new content with a pug. I wouldn't. I mean, that's just me. But
Is it painful?
well, there are people you don't know. I mean, you definitely want to play it with people you know, people who will let you learn it, who won't be like you don't know exactly who you're gonna get with pug, because you might get someone who, because the way that the leveling system works, it's like, and it sounds like this with Final Fantasy, is that you could have been a completely different class and then pick this job just for like this one raid and be at that level, but not be competent at your role because you haven't been doing it all the time. So you might be a little rusty. Like, it kind of depends. Like with ESO, you can definitely tell somebody plays like a Dragon Knight all the time. Like, they're gonna be aware of the shield changes. They're gonna know, like, I need to choose this skill over that skill now because of the patch. Like, I read the patch notes and it's like, oh, this skill totally changed. I shouldn't have this. And if they haven't been doing that, then you can easily tell.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, because like in Final Fantasy, very much like World of Warcraft, there's different levels of raid, and you can pug all of them. You can pug extreme level to normal level, and there's a lot of forgiveness I've found in. So if you're coming in and doing the normal level, and people say, I haven't done this before, there will be a brief conversation explaining what needs to be done, and then they'll get on and do it. And they're quite happy to wait.
I have that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that too. It's not, I don't find that in Guild Wars 2 and their dungeons. They're all so, oh, you're new, you're kicked. Like, I always got kicked.
They are not, it's very much the same in Keystones with World of Warcraft as well. They are not forgiving.
They'll help.
No, they won't.
Aww.
No. The heroics and the normal stuff that you can queue for, it's a Russian roulette, so people just live with the people that they get. They're just like, yeah, fine, we're going. But if any kind of personal made group, any kind of group has to be made by yourself, yeah, they're unforgiving, to say the least.
And I'm always the advocate that says, let them try, see how they go. If they themselves can't stand it, then they can leave, and then we can get someone else. Because there's always that chance with the pug system that the person you have might actually be better than the person you get. Because it might be a mentality thing where it's like, I'm stubborn, I'll stay in a dungeon for 6 hours, I don't care. I'll be like, I'll go through everybody, I'll stay here. Yeah. But not everyone's like that.
Yeah.
So you might get someone who only stays for an hour, and they might be the best person. They might be able to get it done. Yeah. But if they're not going to wait, then goodbye. They might leave.
I think that you and I have that mentality because you and I come from old school MMOs. Because what was your first MMO?
EverQuest.
There you go. And that is unforgiving, to say the least, right?
But I also don't want to leave anyone out. I mean, everyone has their own way of learning, and
I just think that patience and that, I mean, I think it comes from you naturally, but I think that there is a lot to be said for, so like, Classic WoW is coming up, and I think that it's going to test a lot of more fresh gamers, because the content then took longer. And for example, when I was first going through Molten Core with my guild called Murder of Crows, hi Crows, if there's anyone out there, then it took us 3 months to kill the last boss, and we were doing it 4 nights a week, and it took us 3 months to kill it.
So if you missed a day and then you came back the next day, would you feel off?
No.
Oh, okay. See, I would feel off.
No.
I would have felt like,
because so you're raiding 5 nights a week. You sign up to the roster. You'll be in three of the 5, maybe, unless, I mean, I was in a lot more because I was the class leader for healing. So I was setting up the healing arrangements and arranging people's assignments, and that was literally like, you're in a raid and you're arranging assignments so that the tank doesn't die. So you'll set up, this healer is healing the tank, that is your focus. This healer is healing the group, this is your focus. And then on big boss encounters, you would have to literally, before the encounter started, so when this hits, you do that skill. When this hits, you're going to have to do that skill. And it was all kind of super structured, because if you didn't do it, you wouldn't pass the content. It would wipe, especially in a healing circumstance, because it's one of the more vital things. It's like the tanks and the healers bear the weight of responsibility for the raid, at least back then in that content. And I think that kind of drilling has made me very forgiving of people forking up in raids and not being bothered that if we've wiped 7 times, oh well, okay, we've wiped 7 times.
it's a game.
We'll get it next time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me know what you think,
that's
guys.
That's always was my big thing with any guild I was in, was we're going to do it tomorrow. Like, that was always my question. We're going to do it tomorrow. Okay, now I can relax. We're not going to do it tomorrow. Then I'm like, we have to do it now. Okay, we're going to do it. I'm going to stay here for like 10 hours. Okay. And I won't leave.
Yeah.
And I probably won't sleep the next day because I'll be having like post-traumatic stress disorder, and then I'll be down for like 2 days. And that's how it was with Bloodroot Forge. And I was just like, oh my god, like, I can never get a straight answer. Like, are we doing this tomorrow? And they'd be like, no. Okay, well then we're staying here all day and we're getting as far as we can.
You're a hard taskmaster, woman.
I am.
Okay.
We did it.
We did it, and we didn't care how many children we had to sacrifice to get there.
Exactly. I counted. We went through 20 different people. And we kept 2 for the whole time. We couldn't breathe. We just were like grunting at the end.
Okay, right. Next question, Zayma. What's your prediction for when will the new content updates stop being added? Basically, when Guild Wars 2 will end and only server support. Ooh.
You
minor
know
fixes.
Sorry.
Go. No, go. What do you think?
It's not.
I feel like Aidda's faith in the game has been shaken.
Yeah. I think at this point, like right now, so it's June. It's June 15th.
Yeah.
We have no idea what the next living story is. That for me is bad as a gamer. No idea where it is. There's no cliffhanger. It literally felt like the last story was the end. Like it literally said like, I love you from Kate. That feels like the end.
Ooh.
It feels like the layoffs were that they were going to do something else.
So you're genuinely concerned that the game is on its last legs.
Well, it's not on its last legs. It's just the story is going to be done. But I don't play just for story. I do achievements too. Yeah. So I'll still have probably 2 more years of, if I played, as much as I play any MMO, it'd probably be 2 years. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm more optimistic. So my take on it is that the layoffs were tragic for the people there, and heartbreaking as a person who wants to support this company and specifically the employees who make the game brilliant. So I was genuinely gutted. But I think a lot of the people who were removed from the company, disgusting, but were removed, were done so from different games. They had a lot of stuff happening in the periphery that was taking away people from the core game, from Guild Wars 2. And as a gaming company, you should always be developing new games and new franchises. I guess that's that's part of their business model. But I feel like Guild Wars 2 had been neglected in many ways, and I think that it could all very well go Pete Tong like you have suggested, but I think there is also a chance that now they're focusing on their primary project, that we could, as gamers in this franchise, be kind of fortunate.
See, it sounds like the ex-boyfriend syndrome of, I love him, he had such potential, and he didn't believe in himself, and if only he did this, if only he did that. No, you get a new boy.
You get a new boyfriend.
You get a new boyfriend, and you get a husband, and then you realize, like, there is someone who communicates. There is someone who writes the stories that you want to read on the website every week. There's the content creator that you love for another game, and it's out there, and so I'm just
shall we say
shattered.
Skeptical.
Yes.
Skeptical.
It's shattering. It's like if it's your first love, if it's your first MMO or your first boyfriend, it's heartbroken. I've had both.
Yeah.
You know, but it's eventually, when you're our age, you know that it's gonna happen at least one or two more times before you're done gaming, and
before we die, before we cast off our mortal coil and
gaming.
embrace the abyss. Yeah.
Yes.
I am genuinely more positive than you. I genuinely think that they're going to continue.
But you're not supposed to play one MMO. Like, even Guild Wars 2 has said it. You're not supposed to play just one MMO. You're not supposed to just breathe and eat this game. And that's it.
I agree.
I think that's bad for anybody. I think anybody who asks that question, I think automatically thinks the same thing. Like, is the game dead? It's not a question you would ask if you didn't think the game was dead.
I don't know. I think there's a difference because it has a healthy population. It has a healthy
Guild Wars
population
2?
of game. Yeah, it does. It has a healthy population.
I would say that. Yeah, it does.
So I think from a purely financial point of view, they have this gamer pool that they can continue to have as customers actively.
Oh, definitely.
So from a financial point of view, as in ArenaNet trying to maintain their semi-independence from the overlords of Ubisoft, and trying to maintain their project which keeps their company alive, I think that there's a very good chance that Aureen's ascension actually marks an end to the dragon stories.
Yes,
but I
think so too.
Yeah, but I do not think. But what I hope is Aureen marks an end to the dragon stories, because I think we've all had enough of Elder Dragons, and moves on to something completely different, a completely new branching story, something
like
that
more about Destiny's Edge or Dragon's Watch or.
Yeah, so they could go down the character route. They could go down the gods route, because all humans came from a different planet. We could be visiting anywhere in the Mists.
Oh God, Guild Wars 2 in space.
Well, no, not necessarily space. I mean, it's
hearing that one.
The multiverse. Yeah.
I don't think it needs to go there. I think Guild Wars 2 as a story doesn't need to go somewhere else in order to be good. I think if you just
Cantha?
Ooh. I mean, I would love that. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I would love that too.
Expansion, but I don't. They've already said no, and the issue. And I hate to say it, but if they go to Cantha, then I know they're done, because they were very adamant about not going there, and so I feel like they would be selling out.
I don't.
That's awful.
I don't know why they wouldn't want to go to Cantha.
Well, they've said they didn't want to. It's very hard for a game to always go back about what that's the problem with the sequel. It's you're typecast. You're in this pigeonhole, and if you have like the new character, what's her name? The Deadeye Saphira.
Yeah, Zafira.
They were talking about for her Requiem story that it was easier to write hers because there's not as much back lore than there is for Ritlock.
Yeah. Yeah.
It took Ritlock, like they said, it took like 2 months to write his, and it took a month to write hers, and it was because hers is a little bit more open ended. It's probably easier to write.
You've got you're freer, more scope.
Freer.
He's very much in a box, isn't he?
And that's the issue with Elder Scrolls. It's they needed to add dragons because everyone wants dragons from Skyrim.
Yeah.
They had to add it. They had, from a money standpoint, they had to add it. Final Fantasy probably doesn't have that restraint. They can go literally anywhere.
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy is batshit. I mean, the law is just all over the place. Yeah, they can do whatever the hell they want.
And there's no back history. I mean, besides like maybe crystals or the music.
Well, the predominant story theme, which ties together all the disparate stories of Final Fantasy, is the primals, the battle against the primals, which are like. So if you think about like the personification of a god, so gods are real because people make them real, yeah. So if you worshipped Thor, and who wouldn't? Because wow, that 6-pack. I mean, I even like Fat Thor. I can't help myself. But so if you worship Thor, and enough people in the Elder Scrolls, in the Final Fantasy universe worshipped Thor, you could with enough crystals make your own Thor, right? And he'd have all the powers that you think that he should have. Okay, and this is what the primals are, basically. They're anthropomorphic personifications brought to life by the imagination of the people who believe in them via the channeling of Aidda. And so this is the story thread of these creatures being raised and destroyed in a plot line connected to the two primal forces of the universe, which is the light and dark, the yin and yang, the play against good and evil, that kind of thing. And that's the uniting thread basically between all the stories. And I think that Elder Scrolls has a connective tissue like that, doesn't it? It has a kind of backbone story of.
Yes, it's more intertwined than anything. Yeah, because it goes, from Morrowind to Oblivion. The books even slightly changed to be added from the last game, so there's always this continuation of I know this area because of this game, so when I go there online, I'm looking for very particular things. Yeah.
But I don't know whether I could say that there was a connective tissue through Guild Wars. Other than, like,
there's definitely
the elder gods, the human gods, I guess, is an underlying kind of branching.
But also the area. The area is like when we went to Path of Fire, people were already like, I want to see this beach that we used to get like all the treasure from in Guild Wars 1. Like, does that place exist? Does
So your ideal solution for season 5 would be somewhere nobody's ever been before. Right.
I think that's where the game shined. Like in core, it was the brand new areas that didn't. I mean, I love cameos, but I don't think it should sit and build upon them because it excludes. I'm very anti-exclusionary.
So how would you feel about a Char expansion then?
I think that would be great because that's actually good for Guild Wars 2. There is no Char expansion. I mean, there's slight lore from Guild Wars 1, but most people from Guild Wars 1 hate Char.
It's
But if
also
they had...
it's also fairly shallow, the lore, so that they could
Right.
they could build upon
It's
it very
open-ended.
easily. Yeah.
Yes. Or if it was character-based, or if it was a... I mean, that's why they talk about space. Space is brand new. But it's like, I don't want it to feel like it's just going backwards. And that's what I felt like. Path of Fire was more of a cameo than an actual expansion.
Well, I mean, the story with sorry, Path of Fire spoilers. So the story with Balthazar is fairly self-contained. He plays out his entire lifespan. Obviously, it's from the season before. So season, was it 3?
3.
Yeah. So season 3 is his kind of arc. It peaks at the big revealer that he is behind the mask. Yeah, exactly. And then the whole from start to finish, the arc of it is played out for him within the Path of Fire, and then we move on to Krauk.
And Joko.
Yeah, and Joko, which was, I think, like a travesty.
Way short.
Yeah. Too short. He is the Joker of the Guild Wars 2 universe, and they could have had a hell of a lot more fun with him.
Yeah.
But
I think I think the only reason that you have that type of time restraint is that it's somebody saying, we have to hit all of these points in a certain number of episodes. So that means this one has to go here and this one has to go here, and then this happens. And so that's why I feel like if I was a writer and I was reading this, that I feel like it's getting to the end, which is okay. There's nothing bad about it. It's just I feel like it's getting there.
I certainly hope that you're right in terms of the dragon stories. I hope that we are at the end of the Elder Dragon tales.
I also don't know where ESO's next expansion would go. After Elsewhere, they've already done Somerset.
Yeah.
They have to kind of wait for the next, what is it, 6?
Yeah, the new
5 or 6. I don't remember.
Are you talking about the new standalone RPG?
Yes, the new Elder Scrolls.
Whichever number they've got up to. Yeah.
Yeah. They had a trailer. I'm so bad. We're bad. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I genuinely think that all the franchises that we're talking about here, most certainly Final Fantasy, because their new storyline looks amazing. It looks, I think it does. It actually, you saying the end of a kind of an arc. I feel like they're coming to the end of the arc of the summoned primals with this storyline. I don't think it's going to be the end of the stories that they're going to tell in Final Fantasy, but I feel like it's coming to that big arcing storyline is coming to a head with this expansion.
It's kind of like, okay, so when I watched E3 and they said that they were going to come out with a Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel, it's going to be in the same art style. And I think that art style is great and wonderful, and people want it to continue. But for me, and I love it, I love the idea of that, but I don't think they could do it 3 or 4 times. I think they could only do it a sequel once and then redo the Zelda like they normally do.
Yeah, you think it needs to be worked from
Redone.
The ground up. Yeah.
Right. I think it's good. I think it's the narrative gets fresher. You can bring in new people. You don't have to be like, especially with the layoffs and talking about people who've been there for decades. I don't think anybody should be doing the same thing for a decade. That doesn't happen in the job market.
We're not talking about you neurosurgeons. You keep doing what you're doing, okay?
Well, no, they don't. They usually retire.
Yeah.
Pilots retire. You know, they usually they only do it for a certain amount because they know that there's burnout for nurses. They're not nurses for 10 years. Teachers aren't. I mean, it's very unlikely right now.
Yeah.
You're going to switch.
No, it's interesting. Let us know, do you think that hang on. Hello, Dark Griever. Dark Griever has finally arrived in the chat.
Yay!
Yay! Agree with Aidda said, by the way, the art is great, but will get old pretty soon. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. We're just working our way through some questions from chat at the moment. So let us know, Zama, if you think that we've answered your question about content updates.
And the community one.
Yeah.
Make sure.
That was D. Zama's asking an ESO question. So can you play PvE alone and enjoy the game comparing to Guild Wars 2 where basically only will... No, you can't. Okay.
No. So this is going to be the long question so you can read all the other ones. So ESO PvP, you can totally get the best armor. You can craft it up to legendary and it can be gold star and you could have more health than anybody else in the entire game because you have the money and you have played the story. You need the skill points in order to do more skills. So you can definitely be overpowered compared to everyone else who is low level. There's two different types of PvP. There's under level 50, and then there's above level 50, which has the champion points. You do get a experience bonus for doing PvP, like once per day, just like their dungeon system. And you can actually get really good rewards. There is a leaderboard. There is no automated tournaments. There is no if you wanted to make a group and be, I think it's called pre-made, you can do that, and you can be any class or any race. You can be all healers if you want. I don't know why, but most people have like a slight that everyone should be able to heal themselves mentality in PvP. There's 3 maps, or there's only 3 maps and there's only 3 zones. So you don't need to know. Once you've learned the maps, it's a lot easier because then you can know, like, there's like a capture the flag and all the flag points are roughly in the same location as every time. So once you get that down, then you can be like, oh, this flag is going to spawn here. I should start going over there to get it. There's the capture the relic, which is like a ball, like I shouldn't say football, but it's like hold the ball. And the longer you hold the ball, the more points you get, but also the more damage you take. And then there's just straight deathmatch, which is where you should have all 4 of your group members attacking one person to get the most kills. Now, when I play PvP, I always play, I don't know how to describe this. I play Dragon Knight Healer. So if somebody's picking on one person in my group, I can save them, and then we can overwhelm that person. So it's very spike. The combat system is a little bit more slower and more strategic. So if you understand like the technical aspects of any kind of PvP game, you can definitely get into Elder Scrolls. They have the Alliance also, which is like world versus world, but that's actually like it's more 24 hours. There's it's not, how do you say it? It's you know how you get your reward for like the Griffin race? If you get like one of the top scores, you'll get it like a week later. Like you'll get like an additional reward. If you're like the top leaderboard, you get that in Alliance.
I didn't know that was a thing because I've never done that.
Oh yeah, yeah. If it's not just with the mounts, it's also with the any of the adventures. If you're like the top 3, you'll get an extra reward like a week later that says you're the leaderboard. You get an extra thing. So yeah, they have that for the world versus, that's called Alliance. I always just call it world versus world because it's easier to remember. Because Alliance just sounds weird to me, but it's the 3 alliances, so it's race based. So it's like the High Elves are grouped with the Khajiit and the Wood Elves, so they're an alliance. And then you can be any race, you can be any class, but all those races are grouped together, and then they go on the server. They try to beat other people. I hope that answered. So there's not the tournaments that they have in ESO, or not in Guild Wars 2, where they have the cool automated tournaments, but yeah, you have, like, to get the armor, you have to do PvE, and you have to get skill points, and you have to level to get to the max. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I hope that answered.
Yeah. Yeah. Let us know if you're happy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Guild Wars 2 Loki question. What do you feel about the map metas? What do you feel like could be improved and like get more people in? There always seems to be so many people on PvP, World v World and other things, but when it comes to metas, I feel like there's a lack of interaction. Yeah, I think, Aidda, what do you think before I start rattling on?
For Guild Wars 2?
Is there, well, here's a question for me. Is there anything like map metas in ESO, and how do they compare to Guild Wars 2? How about that?
They're around the same.
Right.
You don't see, when I think of metas in Guild Wars 2, I don't think that there's the ones where you need like a lot of people, and then there's the ones that you need like 2. So I'm assuming you're talking about the ones that need a lot. Yeah. And those are usually only like, it feels like only on the weekend. There's not as many of those types in ESO. There are some. There's the dragons now, where you need like 20 to 30 people, but it's nothing like the octagon where you yell at people because they're not doing something. There's nothing that split.
There's nothing like Dragon Stand.
No, there's nothing that split where you have to like do something. It's auto attack. It's kind of, yeah, but but there's always going to be the 1 or 2 events where there's always going to be people.
I would for Guild Wars, I would change up the map metas. So I would have proper automatic queuing systems for stuff. So if you want to be part of the, let's all jump to the next map. If you want to be part of the meta, you can sign up. I know that there is there is options for looking for group, but I think if there was some sort of impersonal mechanism whereby people could sign up for a meta, that there would be a lot better. It would be a lot better. And if there was some sort of system whereby it kind of, because you don't need the hard trinity to do the map metas. So I think that would be the best thing for it, is to actually just have a proper sign-up system whereby you say, I want to do the meta. It clocks them so that they're coming up. There's a UI that says when the next meta is coming up, what needs to happen, and taking you through the different stages of it. Because how can you expect there are so many maps, especially for Heart of Thorns metas. There are so many maps with so many different things that you need to do. It's a lot to expect players to be able to automatically know what the heck is going on in every map. So I would make a proper sign-up system for it. But at the moment, what I would suggest you do is get involved with a group like the Lions Plaza, which is a consortium of guilds, which the News Guild is associated with, who actually do group content together. We have a Discord if anyone's interested. I can actually link to that now. And it's just a case of having to be in a community that has enough people to support that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's not really huge map metas in ESO. There's the dragons that are now, but that's just one thing. And you get your reward immediately. And you don't get more reward if you get like the same little tiny box, but
again?
The economy is really different. It's mainly money based, and like I already said, you get more of your money from writs than you do, killing something necessarily.
I see toilet roll. Where's Nicholas? There he is. Hello, Nicholas. Sorry. Okay. I hope that answers your question. Actually, there's some comments. Aidda, Zayma was talking about PVE, not PV. Sorry, PVE, not PvP.
Yeah, you don't have to do PvP at all if you don't want to. Yeah. There's a skill, so there is a skill that you can only get from PvP. It's kind of like the Guild Wars 1 Lexin or Kuzak skill. It's like a heal skill, actually. But you don't have to technically, well, you do have to win, but it's a group of 3, but you don't have to do PvP. And the armor you get isn't the best armor. The best armor is actually in dungeons and 4-man content.
How difficult is that to get?
It's not. So I forget who was talking about it. In Guild Wars 2, the difference in armor is like 1% or 2% difference in terms of, if you change from like Scholar to like Valkyrie. Like it's more about not standing in fire. In ESO, the best of the best is hard to get, but the second best in slot is pretty easy to get. So,
and actually,
the reason that you don't clear something is not going to be based off your armor. It's not that no one does a check of your armor. You say you're new, they go okay. Yeah. I mean, they've had a streamer do the very first. They've done all the raids naked as level 1. So as long as you know what you're doing, you can do raids, or they're called trials. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there actually, so if people are looking for builds and that kind of build advice, is there the equivalent of meta battle for
Yes, it's going to be Alacaster, and he's going to give like 15 different options for your flex slot, because he assumes that you know how to play your class. So it's there's also Dots Gaming. But
what's the noddiest one? The one that's better for people who are learning rather than proficient?
Alacaster. Because he'll give you you have to do this. You have to have this one. You have to have that one. You have to do PvP to get this heal skill. Like he'll do every single level for you.
Okay.
It's kind of mindless and kind of
in a very judgmental tone by the sounds of it.
Yeah. I'm getting my Alacaster. Because and that's the fun part about MMOs, I think, is actually learning like what kind of skill that you like. Like I didn't learn how great Mesmer Scepter was until I found out that it makes another clone. And then that's how I learned about shattering builds. And that, once I learned that I have to search for shatter Mesmer build, that's when I learned it, not before. I didn't want my hand held, so maybe I'm the wrong type of gamer. I don't like builds. And you don't necessarily need to have like the best of everything for ESO. Like you can be a Nightblade who steals health and be a tank.
Yeah.
And that's like no one knows that. Like no one thinks about it, but I see it every so often. I'm like, they know what they're doing because they're doing the off meta. Yeah.
Okay. More questions and more comments from Dark Griever, I think, in the chat as well. Is there anything left on our topics to chat about, by the way, as I'm scrolling?
Yes. Yes.
So we've done that letter.
Dailies. We can talk about dailies.
Yep. Let's talk
Do you like dailies?
No, I don't like dailies. No.
See, I like dailies. I think Guild Wars 2, in terms of the UI, has too many, but I still like them. I still actually really like them.
You should also come and join me in my special tea room at the top of the map, if you can.
Oh. I haven't even been.
High tea. You have to turn off the gravity.
I don't know how to turn off gravity.
So you see down in front of you, there's a console that looks like a Fractals console. You go in there and you put low gravity on. You go on your mount and you just fly up.
This is how much she didn't want to do daily. She's making me come to her.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so this is interact.
Or you could just use
I want
your teleport
low gravity.
to friend. Yeah. And then jump on your griffin.
Does that work?
Yeah.
As like directly? See, I've been so used to Guild Wars or to ESO where it just takes you to the nearest teleport location. It doesn't actually take you directly. I'll just do that then.
You should just appear where I am. I'm sat down, so you might.
It says you cannot teleport to someone who's in an instance.
No.
There you go.
Okay, I'll come down and get you.
Are you on your mesmer?
No, I'm not on my mesmer. I'm on my my necro.
Oh, they have a portal.
Do they?
So there's no jumping. There's no jumping puzzles in ESO.
Ooh.
There are none. There are no activities. There are no. When they have like a holiday event, it's almost all single thing. Like you can do by yourself.
Yeah. Are you zero G'd?
I think so. I think I picked it.
Yeah, cosmic energy.
Yeah.
Pony.
Yeah.
Griffin up.
Griffin. Okay.
Up, and just keep going. And you just keep going up.
Okay, so I'm following this light.
Yep. Follow the light, Aidda.
I'm getting dizzy. I shouldn't keep turning.
Also, if you're ever going to do a mount guide...
Why am I going down? Why am I not going
flap
up?
Your wings. Flap your wings.
Okay. I have to keep doing that, okay.
Yeah, you have to keep doing that to ascend. I'm going to wait for you up here so you can see my judgmental puppy watching you. Hello.
Okay.
And then over this way.
So who made this little tea area?
Me. I made the tea area.
Okay, I keep going. I'm
oh
like,
no, it's
here.
It's here. Yeah, press V to go
Okay.
down so you can dive, or you can just like jump off your mount. Hello.
I think I changed some of the keybinds.
Bye. She just disappeared into the aether. That's it.
Was that
Gone forever.
The chocolate factory and the fizzy drinks.
Yeah.
I pushed S. I'm slowly moving down. I'll just wait.
If somebody finds Aidda, can you please juice her and send her to me?
This is why we don't move. I'm not even gonna fly. I'm just gonna land and then get off of this.
I'm gonna try and find you.
There you go.
Where are you?
I don't like 0T.
You don't like...
I don't.
Okay, we'll go... Fine. No high tea area for us. I'll come
I'm right at the corner. Why are you leaving?
Oh, you're here. You're here. Okay.
So you can't see me. I don't have a shiny enough shield.
Yeah. That's
That's the reason.
Yep, absolutely. There you go. This is the nice
there
sitting. There we go. Yay! This is for high tea only.
Do we have any food to eat? No.
Sadly, no. There is alcohol. You can get beer from the crate over there. Ooh, peppermint om-nom berries, om-nom bars. Okay.
Yummy.
Nom. Right, so let me read some of the chat. So Final Fantasy is going to have law-related fates in Shadowbringer. they will probably be between the two Guild Wars meta types. Oh, that's interesting. Final Fantasy, sometimes you get checked, examine armor and class wise via Lobstone website. Yeah, you can actually, if you wanted to look at my character, you could go and look at her online. It's World of Warcraft has a very similar system, and there were no mesmers.
Now,
necromancers
what I wish that ESO had was the instance for story.
Okay.
Because when I see somebody come up to my NPC and talk to them, while I can't necessarily hear what they say, I can see them, and therefore I feel that rush to like hurry up, because then that person might kill the thing I need to kill, and so I might have to wait. I wouldn't have to wait very long.
Yeah.
But I would still have to wait. Because they might kill it right when I'm getting there because I read slow.
Yeah.
So it's not that bad. It doesn't happen very often, but it happened with Elsewhere because that's the new thing. And
so the newer the content, the more difficult it is because you're interacting in an open world setting. So
yes.
it can destroy the story.
It doesn't destroy it. It just feels immersion breaking.
Yeah.
So I definitely like the instance a lot more. But talking about story, in terms of combat, people complain that like Guild Wars 2 is too easy. I don't want to say that. You almost can auto attack the majority of the ESO story, regardless of where you're at.
Yeah, I play the staff healer, the
Templar,
yeah. And all I do is auto attack and heal myself, and I can kill anything. It may take me a while. But
as long as you don't play tank, don't make the mistake of starting a tank and thinking you can do damage. You can't. You're not doing any damage. Just don't do tank. Then you'll never kill it. Like I had to learn that. Like
yeah, but you don't die. You don't die if you're.
Oh, I don't die. Well, that's not the goal of story. Is not to die. It's to get through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So dailies. So ESO dailies are like go kill something and I'll give you a loot bag or a loot box.
Okay.
And so it's mainly armor based. So the only people who are going to be in that zone are also trying to get the armor. So you'll always have people doing those types of dailies. They don't go toward your achievement points, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
They also don't give gold. I mean, you can sell your weapon, and I can give you gold, but there's no. It's not like harvesting. It's not like there's like a PvP daily, which is just do your dungeon basically. Just do like an instance and win. There's the daily crafting. It's not really time gated. I guess research is kind of time gated. What's the Final Fantasy daily like?
What is the Final Fantasy daily like? Waits for you to reply in chat. I would say that I've got my interface open and I'm looking at all the different dailies that you can do.
The UI is very cluttered, but when you actually do the daily, it's fun. I think it's fun. It's a lot.
That is overwhelming to me, and I would imagine that this is kind of emotionally crippling for people who are completionists. I mean, this is not fair. Stop doing this to people. You're destroying people's mental health, please.
Because it feels like like a good, what, 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah, just pick like, so you
Just to
have
do
all
the
these
daily.
different dailies. So have one of these maps come up every day for someone to do. Have like the standard dailies that go across all the genres. Have one of the interesting daily maps come up, and then let people get on with their lives.
But I think the reason they did that is so that people stay on that map until the next map comes out. I don't think it's as good retroactively. Like right now, it doesn't make sense for us to go back and gather, you know, I can't think of anything. Let me look at some of them. I'm trying to think of a map and I can't think of any off the top of my head. So achievements, daily. So like I would not, so if it wasn't for the daily, I would not go back to the domain of Corna.
Yeah.
And fight anything or get 5 shard. Like I wouldn't do that because it's here. I also not gonna do it because it's not fun. I usually like to go to the Sandswept Isles because I think it's pretty. I like flying with the dolphins. I still do that like almost every other day. But like I'm not gonna do the sunken treasure hunter now that I know there's no underwater expansion. Like I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah. My take on it is that I think this kind of, so in World of Warcraft especially, they've put a load of stuff that's time sync into the game, and they've done an even worse job in World of Warcraft because they've got this randomized, possibly getting super awesome gear just because you were breathing in that area. And I think it's destroying people's sense of time spent to achievements gained. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a guy called Beluga, or he's Irish. I can't pronounce it. And he made a very good point about people enjoying enjoyable work. We like to feel like we do something and then there is a reward at the end of it. And if you randomize that too much and then you have too many so that people are kind of swamped, then people lose that sense of achievement, lose the sense of reward, and then just lose interest in all of it because all the rewards seem to be extrinsic rather than intrinsic. Yeah.
Like right before the Elsewhere chapter, there was a prologue for Elsewhere that had dailies, and if you did enough of them, you would get a emote. Now I got the emote because I'm very diligent about my dailies, but I'm never doing them again because I had to do so many.
Yeah.
And there's like that for every prologue. There's daily of that area, and you get a really cool thing, but then you're never going to do it again. So the price gets for that particular type of item gets quadrupled, and the more time goes on, the more it goes up.
Dark actually answered about about the Final Fantasy. So if you remember the daily roulette, now that's like you sign up for the 4-man dungeons. That's what the Final Fantasy daily is. We basically do them when you're leveling up new classes and you get currency to gear that character. However, me and Tom usually do them because it's things that we like doing together, and it's fun. So when I was playing more Final Fantasy, and I like to play a bit more because I haven't been playing it a huge amount at all, we do dailies together and you get additional rewards. But it's just it's a group experience. It's not go to this map by yourself and grind your face off on that. It's like a group experience. You go in a 4-man with your friends, you do some dungeons, you get additional rewards because it's a daily. Job's a good one. Yeah, that's the whole kit and caboodle of it.
Now for ESO, because they have like so many different types of dailies, there's one system that is phenomenal. So it's called pledges. And pledges are to say, I am going to go kill this thing in this dungeon. I do. They have an actual I pledge to do this thing. And And what happens is that once you killed that thing in that dungeon, it could be on normal or it could be on veteran hard mode. It doesn't matter. You come back, you tell the NPC, and you get two things. You get a key, which is kind of like a Black Lion key.
Okay.
And you get a transmutation charge. Now you need 50 transmutation charges to change your stat on your armor or your weapon.
Okay.
So when you're talking about that everyone has 10 pieces of gear, you need to do this thing all the time. So the more characters you have that can go to this NPC and get this quest, the more transmutation charges you can get. And everyone always needs them, so there's always going to be people who need to do their pledges. It's one of these intrinsic systems that goes into the game. So everyone's doing that same content that day. If you missed it for one day, that's okay. You just get it for today and you do today's.
Yeah.
And some people skip it because it might be too hard for them. That's okay. There's always 3 different levels. There's easy, medium, and hard. So there's always somebody doing them. And it also helps with, if you need gear from that particular dungeon, you can just wait. I did that for fractals when I was doing legendary collections. I would just wait for that fractal to be up to get my thing, because then I wouldn't have to make a separate group just to do that particular content. I would just wait for it to be on that random list that everyone needed to do. So it works. I think it works. I think that daily system, where it's not necessarily considered a daily, but it is kind of a daily, is probably the best systems. Yeah.
Let us know what you think in chat.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so daily. So let's cross that off. Bug fixes in the games. I'll let you go first. You can start with Guild Wars 2 if you want.
What do I think about bug fixes in the game?
Yes. Do they happen? Do they happen enough?
I am gonna say, because I don't care too much about balancing mechanics, I'm happy. If there's something broke, they will fix it. If something is being exploited, they'll fix it.
Okay. So here's one from the Guild Wars 2 one. That the current shiny weapons, where the typo was that you needed a charged quartz stone, that you needed it charged, was wrong. You don't need it charged. You just need a normal quartz stone.
Right.
That's a bug, technically.
Yeah.
It needed to be fixed. Has that been fixed?
I don't know.
Don't know. Okay. Hopefully chat knows. Because they said they're going to do it within a day, but that's just one of those things where it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, that happens in any game, but
yeah. That's actually quite painful, because charged lobestones, you have to charge them yourself.
And if you didn't know that wasn't like, if you didn't watch that stream and you wanted to be that first person who wanted to get it, then you're gonna that's a whole different price tag.
That whole thing was brand new to me, so I am probably not the best person to talk to
there we go.
about patch notes, because
well, they're just normal bug fixes. I kind of look at them. There's
I'm fairly honey badger about all this. As long as I can log in. Yeah, honey badger doesn't give a shit. As long as it's okay. As long as it's not game breaking, I can live with it.
How long did it take? See, what was it? It was like one of the Living Story episodes where you couldn't enter from the desert with, I think it was like episode 2.
Oh yeah, I do.
Where like no one could enter because it was like Blish's arm was like tinted or something, like you could enter.
That I have experienced one or two of those. They seem fairly quick. I mean, there's at least a 12-hour under a 12-hour turnabout when things actually break the game. So I think that they care enough.
And you think Guild Wars 2 is adamant in at least saying it on Twitter, not necessarily in game.
Yeah, that they try. If you are looking to keep it up and find out what's happening with Guild Wars 2, follow them on Twitter. Even if that's the only thing that you follow on Twitter. And I probably recommend that if you don't if you don't have a thick skin, that might be the best thing for you to do. Mm-hmm. But they also do updates on their forum as well. But Twitter
I don't check their forums.
They do, yeah. But Twitter seems to be their main forum for updates. Mm-hmm. So yeah, do look there. Not that I do.
It's on their website and it's in game.
There you go.
It is in game. They will say we're fixing this in game. They'll get on Twitch. They'll say yes. They're on Twitter. It's kind of like a soundboard in all places. It's like, yes, we know about it. Yes, we're gonna fix it, and it gets fixed.
That would be nice. That would be nice in the Black Lion for there to be actually like not just a selling thing, but like a news section where you could look at things. That would be good. I would like that.
They have I thought they had a current bug report for Guild Wars 2 on the wiki.
Mm. No, but I mean, like in game, that would be good to be able to open the Black Lion trading post. Not just to be shill, but they're actually like a news section about what's happening in the game. Yes,
that would be nice.
Sign me up for that. Yeah.
Oh my
also,
gosh, yes.
Zoom people, just put Zoom on the previews. Okay, it's not too much to ask.
Well, we have Zoom, so yay.
Show off.
Okay.
Show off.
Yeah. Okay, so bug fixes, server stress. Now, for World versus World, did you ever have a lot of lag whenever there was like a server stress issue, or?
You can just say that in World v World, there's a lot of lag, and then you can just leave it there because that's the truth. And it's not lag, it's information overload. There are too many people, there's too many spell effects. What the game really needs to do is have buttons to minimize not just the armor and display of the other characters, but also to minimize their spell effects so that you see your pretty stuff, so it doesn't affect your personal enjoyment, but you're not like trying to like wade through molasses of particle effects, not being able to see what's happening. Yeah.
See, I actually think the lag for Guild Wars 2 is better than ESO.
Ooh, it's interesting.
I actually do. I think it does a better job because they have it server by server instead of everything. Yeah, chat. The title still hasn't updated.
What?
No, it's still hell. I haven't refreshed it, but Tom is still saying that it's.
I have changed it. I am going to screenshot. I'm going to screenshot.
We're putting this on YouTube. We don't actually think a lot of people are.
Guild Wars.
We're mainly just geeking out.
Guild Wars 2. I'm typing it again. Carry on, Aidda.
Okay. So for like server stress, whenever I'm in like Guild Wars 2 for like World versus or not for like the World Boss event, it felt good to have that many people, but then at the same time, like I couldn't even auto attack the monster, and I think that's when it gets bad. And I haven't experienced that in ESO yet, just on World versus World stuff though.
I have changed it again, peeps.
Oh, yay, it did it.
Yeah, yay.
So how do you change the category from Hellblade, though?
What, it's still saying Hellblade?
Can it be like podcast?
I put it to just chatting, which is just like people talking.
Oh, okay.
It should be that category. If it's not that category, I've changed it 3 times now. It's Twitch's fault.
Twitch doesn't like you.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't like me. It doesn't like me. It doesn't pay me. I haven't had any money off Twitch.
But they actually have stress tests for the public test server in ESO where they actually ask you to go on the test server to test it.
That's good.
I kind of wish they had a public test server for Guild Wars, but
so here's a bit of insider baseball. So as a content creator, every now and then they give us access before like a big patch. They'll give us access to, at least some of us, to a private server that they run for their testing purposes. Like 90% of the story will be locked off. We all have to sign NDAs, but you do get that chance. So, for example, they want us to make content, so they'll allow us to unlock the skins of the stuff. They'll allow us to look at the new mounts. They'll allow us to make the content so that it's ready for the launch to go live when the game goes live. So that's there. So there is a test. There is a test run, but it isn't. But it's super like locked down. If that helps.
Right.
If that's interesting to anybody.
I got to do, so it wasn't the last trial, it was the last dungeon. It was called Frost Vaults, and it was on the public test server. It was for anybody who wanted to test out the dungeon, and it was, please test dungeon, we want feedback. And they actually took that information and they actually changed it before it went live. Oh. So I think it does an actually good job in terms of stress test and getting the information and the feedback. I think it does a really good job.
Well, I haven't got my sub money. No, I haven't. They have a threshold of something like $60 in order to give you any of the funds that you've made, and I haven't made that threshold. Don't go for a career in Twitch, guys, unless you are like super loud and bouncy or named Ninja. Anyway.
Didn't he retire?
Did he retire? I don't know.
He did.
I don't know.
Okay, so that's server stress, and then the next one I have is events and updates. So Guild Wars 2 has an update like every 3 months for the story.
Yeah.
That's actually equivalent to ESO. And in terms of trials or raids, we get a trial every year.
You get an annual raid.
We get an annual raid.
Wow.
And it has a normal mode, it has a veteran mode, and then it has a CM mode, basically.
Do you feel that that's sufficient?
Yes. Because of how many people do it on different days, because of there's like a weekly quest that you can get. I mean, you can keep doing it for armor, but to get the daily like loot box is like super cool, and like the legendary stuff, you can only get that weekly. So it's kind of like time gated the same way.
Okay.
And I think it works. But
is there
I'm not a super raider, so.
Is there a large raiding community?
There is. It's I think they said it was around 10% of the gaming population actually raids and does it regularly. So there's always groups. Sunday is the main day to do raids. So that's what I usually do on Sunday. I usually do 4 of them, and then I do like another 2 throughout the week if I have time.
Do you raid with your guild?
I used to have, well, I mean, I technically still do. I used to have a training guild where I have subsequently been upgraded to the actual trainer.
Ooh.
And I do that on Sunday. So I still do that part. And then like during the week, I just don't talk and I get into a nice pug and do normal.
Okay.
I don't say anything. How long does it usually take to do the first clear? So if you have like brand new people, it depends on how good they are. Usually about an hour. They have it for like when they first came out. So the trial that just came out was Sunspire, and it took around 3 hours for the first clear on Vet.
And
So
that's the
it's
highest
equivalent.
mode, is it? Veteran
Yeah.
mode. Okay.
Yeah, that's the equivalent to like the last one. The last one was like what, 5 hours with Mighty Teapot?
Yeah.
It looked good. The last raid looked really good here.
For a point of reference, I think it was something like 3 weeks for the highest tier of content in World of Warcraft. It was 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's
Oh
hard.
god, I would not be able to do that.
It's hard. They do
Yeah.
I think they're one of the best at doing endgame
I
raiding.
like the ones that you can kind of figure out. Like a lot of the dungeons for ESO, the harder ones, you have to have the audio on because like you'll get someone like Tiny who will wait until after you figure out the mechanic to tell you the mechanic.
Okay.
I'm specifically thinking of the chapter 4 where you're reading Scruffy, and she'll say like, "Use the crystal," and it's like, well, I've already used the crystal because I had to use it to get to this point, and now you're telling me after the fact I found out. Thanks, Tiny. Like they have that in ESO. It's like, oh, I wish I had that like 20 minutes ago.
So
Okay.
So in vanilla WoW, there was in modern WoW there is a raid book that you open that tells you what loot the boss drops and what the boss does, and what the different roles that you need to do as a healer, as a tank, at each of the levels. In vanilla WoW, there was nothing. They didn't even tell you where the raid was. You know?
I would not want a book. That's part of the fun of like figuring it out. And
yeah, so vanilla WoW that's why it took so long. That's why it took the endgame raiders so long, because they were actually figuring out what the hell the boss was doing so that they could counter it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And like each of them adds like a slightly different, like a check, like we were talking about. Like the healer has to do this here, and they'll say it, but there's not anything overwhelmingly that like if you're a decent player you'll be able to figure out. It's not like gear based. It's mainly don't stand in this AoE and there's
don't stand in the fire, kids. Don't stand in fire. Nobody likes it.
Yeah, there's a lot of like you have to stand on this, like 4 people have to stand on this pressure point all at the same time. So like if you have voice chat, you'll be like 3, 2, 1, and everyone kind of knows like to stand in that and their assigned pressure point. Kind of like guild missions, kind of.
So there's, and how complicated are the mechanics and the raids? Are they very complicated, or
that's like the most complicated one I found.
So they're fairly noddy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're decent. The dungeons are very different. There are some dungeons that are actually harder than some trials or raids. I'll try to say raids instead of trials.
I mean, I imagine that Dark could wax rhapsodic about the extraordinarily difficult content that there is in Final Fantasy to do with the endgame raids that are available and the endgame 5 months. That a lot of complexity, a lot of healing checks and DPS checks, and having to do very, very specific mechanics, or you just wipe. If, for example, if people don't get into the right area at the right time, you'll wipe. If you don't have the right people doing this, that. So it's very, very specific. And you remember the lovely water, but I don't even want to. No, I don't want to talk about the water boss. I still have PTSD from that, so let's not talk about that. Still have PTSD from yesterday's stream. What am I talking about? Anyway, carry on.
So the event is every like three months or so, and that's like they do holidays, and then they'll do like a story, and then they'll do a dungeon, and so it's getting regular updated. It's just different content each cycle, I guess.
Okay.
So what about Final Fantasy? What's their event schedule?
And over to Dark. I don't know.
Where he types. Okay.
quick type. Well, I mean, I think most players know the event schedule for Guild Wars, that we have a 3 months, and there's a rotating dungeon section in that. For example, a new raid has come out recently for additional academic content, which is like a djinn raid. But I haven't really looked at that because I am not a raider. I'm too dirty casual to raid anymore. So.
See, in ESO, you could just do it. You could just go in and be like, "I'm new," and they'll be like, "Okay."
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same in World of Warcraft. It's the same in Final Fantasy. The only place that you seem to get testicle blocked is Guild Wars 2, which has for being one of the friendliest communities, has a terrible community of elitist ass-hattery when it comes to raiding content.
Well, they want you to put in your time before you actually do it, so it's...
Yeah.
I can kind of see it, but I can kind of be like, what if the joy of doing it is doing it and then reading afterwards, because that makes more sense. Like, that makes sense to me.
Just have a tourist mode. Dudes, just have a noddy tourist mode with crappy loot, so people are only there for the story.
Let's talk about loot. So we'll start with Guild Wars 2. Loot is good. Is loot bad? Where do you stand on loot?
Boo. Boo. Loot is not good.
It's a system of
Boo.
Loot. Boo. Bags and opening bags. And...
It's bagception. Bagception. I don't want to... I said this in one of the other streams. I don't want to do housework. I have a house for housework. I don't want to do my... Look at my bags. It's too... No, stop it.
So what
you're drunk,
about
go home, you know.
What we're talking about is that every time that you fight a monster, everyone who's hit the monster gets loot, regardless of how much percentage of the damage is.
And it's rubbish. It doesn't matter whether you're a god who keeps everyone alive, or the loot is rubbish. It's rubbish.
Right. And the loot doesn't necessarily matter a lot. There's some situations where it is like an infusion from like the silver waste, but in most essences it's rubbish. In ESO, when you go into most of the loot, so you get loot from completing a quest, and they'll give you a prescribed item. Like, you can go on the wiki, it will say this is what you get, and it's level reward, and that's what you get. Everyone gets the same. If you go into a dungeon, it's random which armor piece, but you get it from their table of that dungeon, and it will be your level. You can swap it with someone else from your group for like an hour and a half.
It's the same in WoW. Yeah.
Gotcha. How is it in Final Fantasy?
Okay, hang on. Dark Griever. I'm just looking at Dark Griever. So
that's fine.
Okay, so we're gonna go back to the raids in Final Fantasy have 2 difficulties: normal, which is what you do, and savage, which is usually avoided. If you remember the emissary, the one you need us to kill specifically, blah blah blah. There are skills that you have to do or you'll die. Normally raids have a basic raid and a savage. Yeah, so it's detailed mechanics in terms of the raiding. So you have a noddy mode for everybody and a harder mode for people who really want to do the mechanics and try hard.
Yeah, we don't have in ESO. You don't get a special action key. You just get the normal skills that you have, and you just use those.
Yeah.
There's no special action key.
Yeah. Sorry, so the 2 tanks so in raids there's generally 2 tanks, 2 healers, and the rest are DPS. Sorry, he's still catching up. I would imagine he's still typing.
That's fine. Yeah, the big thing is always don't stand in fire. That's universal.
Yeah. Tanks and healers will hate you equally if you stand in fire and kill yourself. Yeah.
Yep.
Don't do it, kids. But loot in Final Fantasy, seems okay. There are loot drops in the raids that are upgrades. There are loot drops in the dungeons, which are you can use them for transmogrification. You can use them for loot upgrades as you're leveling. There's a deep crafting system, amazing crafting system in Final Fantasy. There's also dailies and bounties and that kind of thing that you can do to get higher levels of loot and upgrade the loot that you have. So there's lots of scope in Final Fantasy to do all sorts of interesting little things at Endgame to up your loot. But also, like, the story, the end... So at the moment, the story is waiting for the expansion. But in order to do the final four-man, you have to have good gear in order to get in there. So you have to farm loot in order to unlock the ability to get into the four-mans to complete your story. So the loot and the story and the dungeons and the raids are all tied together. And it's super intricate in Final Fantasy. And the loot it's not necessarily a treadmill as much as World of Warcraft is, but you certainly need the loot in order to do the content. So that's how there's not you're not inundated with it. It's not a punishment, like it is in this game.
I feel like it's more of a punishment in ESO because all of the best loot is always the newest content.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that it gets outdated. I mean, you can still use it, but it's not going to be best in slot. But no one's going to go and say, neener, you can't come because you have this old thing. They're going to go, you're not the highest level, and so we're going to have questions about if you even have the stats needed to have, like, because like the combat system or the CP system means that you'll have more health if you're higher level. You'll have more magicka if you're higher level. So it's I guess it's different.
Hello, Tenno, by the way. Hi, hon. I would say that I think we're kind of talking about two different things. So if you're talking about
loot, sorry.
So gear,
you have
gear
to do
versus loot. So
yes.
Drops versus gear. So in Guild Wars 2, you probably know that you can
get
craft.
Overdated, yeah.
Yeah, you can craft the gear. I crafted my Ascended gear when they started making Ascended gear. And I crafted one of every flavour, and it's still great gear that the stats are still the best in the game, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So in that respect, there is no loot treadmill in Guild Wars 2 once you've hit the max cap level of Ascended. Because beyond that, all the legendary stuff is just utility, right? But it's not like that in Final Fantasy, and it's not like that in ESO. There is a loot treadmill, and it's very similar to the World of Warcraft model.
Now, one thing is that for the ESO crafting, you can just upgrade, or you can make subpar armor.
Okay.
Gear from a dungeon is always going to be better. Even, it's called Overworld, which is like the PvE kind of equivalent. That armor is always going to be better than the crafted. Always.
Yeah.
The crafted is mainly for alts. But the newest dungeon's always going to have the best in slot gear.
Mm.
And so there's always this, like, I have to do the new one. Which is, I think, good. I actually like it. Maybe because I got used to the Guild Wars 2 for so long, and I feel like once I've gotten it for all my characters, I don't really play them as much now.
Yeah.
Like, there was a grind to get it, and then it's like, oh, I got it, okay. But when I'm doing just a regular dungeon, I might get like 30 items for like a 2-hour session.
Mm.
So it's nowhere close to my bags being full. I won't have to like spend a whole time just managing my bags. I don't have to. I don't get boxes and boxes. I mean, if I do PvP, I would, but
yeah.
I know that, so I don't do that much PvP. I know I'll get so many bags and stuff and be like inundated.
Yeah.
So what about the economy? You're saying that is there like a trading system for Final Fantasy? Is it?
Yes. Yeah, there is. Sorry. So the Final Fantasy. So I'm just gonna quickly read what Dark wrote about the gearing system. So a lot of gear is gated via your item level, which is dictated by the level of the gear that you're wearing. Like I said, and you have to have specific gear to get in specific item level to unlock specific content. What it means is, so like you said, you could have a naked level 1 character do raids. You can't do that. You can't do that in ESO. Sorry, you can't do that in Final Fantasy. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You have to have completed the story to the point where you can unlock the raid or the dungeon. You have to have completed the appropriate quests, and you have to have the appropriate level gear in order to get in there, so that you don't disadvantage the other people around you. And there is there's some arbitrary set numbers for that type of gear. Yeah, he's saying that the dungeon set is 375, the raid set is 390 or 400 if savage. Yeah. And there is a vast auction trading post system in the player-driven economy where you craft weapons or you sell weapons that you're not using. There's lots of so there's housing in Final Fantasy. Some of the best housing that I've ever experienced. It's brilliant.
I've seen it. Yeah, it looks amazing.
Yeah, and there's and crafters craft the items that you have in your house. Now there's a set number of things. There's like a standard base stuff that you can put in that you can buy off vendors, but the nicest, the most beautiful stuff is created by crafters. And so the crafting system has value and weight in Final Fantasy, and yeah, it's really good. It's a really, really good system, and it helps keep the economy vibrant and interested, and there's always extremely lovely things on the trading post. So if you're a crafter, you can make a lot of money.
Nice. So I love the Guild Wars 2 trading post. You can literally click the button anywhere in game and you can sell your item. And if you actually buy or sell, then you can just go to the NPC. There's also those convenient items like the airship or the mist forge, I think it's called, where you can easily go and get like a nice little town basically that has everything real close by. There's no convenience item like that per se. There's a merchant, like an NPC merchant that you can sell things to, and there's your own personal bank or a guild NPC, but there's no trading post NPC that you can have from the Crown Store. Okay. So, and it's I cry every time I have to use it. So if you go to Guild Wars 2 and you just do like a search for bags, it will give you an actual list of what you can buy right now. In ESO, you have to go to a separate website. You have to look to see if somebody has sold it within the last 2 to 3 minutes. Then you have to go to that city, find an NPC from that guild, and hope that somebody else didn't buy it.
Oh my gosh.
It's so bad. And when you're talking about buying something that's like 100,000 gold, and you just want it, versus having to spend 50,000 at the city that you were at.
Yeah.
And so you go back to that city going, I'm going to buy it anyway, so I'm going to chalk up the cost. It doesn't matter. And it's gone there too.
Oh my gosh.
You get very frustrated because everything is based off of this external website to see if something's been up within the last 2 or 3 minutes. Because if you look at it and it says this item was put on sale 5 hours ago, then it's very unlikely that it's still there. Now, that's the player-driven economy. It's worse for Xbox because they can charge anything almost.
God, that sounds
but
terrible.
but it's an F. It's the economy trading post is an F, and
see me after school. We have to talk about this.
We have to talk. I wish it would just take the Guild Wars 2 one, but I get sick. And also the loot system, like I have to go back constantly to like loot because like the AoE loot of all the monsters that I kill is like so small. Like
yeah, so it's lacking some quality. I will say that in Final Fantasy, so there are lots of city hubs that you can trade in with trading boards, and there are trading boards everywhere. But say someone placed their item on the trading board in Limsa Lominsa, and I'm in Gridania and I'm buying that item, there will be a slight surcharge for delivery costs from Limsa Lominsa to Gridania. So it's a very small amount, but it does.
So what if you go to the main city? Is it still a charge?
No. So if I see something in Limsa Lominsa, I should go to Limsa Lominsa to buy it. Yeah. But you do.
But no one does.
But no one does. I don't know actually how many people know this either. It was just, I was like, what? They're doing what? But yes, there's a slight surcharge for buying in different places, which I think is fine. It doesn't bother me, but it's good to note.
Right.
I think a good middle ground, because the Guild Wars 2 method is super easy. Everything just disappears out of your bags. You don't have to be anywhere near anybody. You don't have to go to a trader to get your stuff on the onto the market, and you don't have to go to a letterbox. There are no letterboxes in this game. In World of Warcraft, you have to you go, if you want to put something on the trading post, you have to go to the trading post to speak to the auctioneer and put your stuff on, and then when you want to collect your stuff, you have to go to a post box to collect it. It can be any post box, but you have to go to a post box. So I think there's a middle ground in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think Guild Wars 2 has the best trading system.
It's super easy. Best for cleaning out your bags on the go. Yeah.
And then that's going to lead us to goals in the game. What do you think most people's goals for Guild Wars 2 are? Or yours. Or yours. We'll just start with yours.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to anybody else, but my goals are a bit of Fashion Wars, playing the story, and unlocking interesting mounts and skins that I'm interested in. Exploration. That's my stuff that I want to do.
Is that every game, or is that just one particular game?
No, that's pretty much. I am fairly standardized. Standardized gamer. I look for good story, engaging visuals, a world that I'm interested in, that I want to explore in, and shiny, bright, bauble-y things to collect, and I'm happy. I'm a simple girl. What about you?
So mine's actually has changed. Mine used to be achievements, and I'm slowly going into what's fun to do daily. Because I love the dungeons in ESO. And while it helps with achievements and getting armor, the armor is, like we've said, not like the best. I mean, it's okay. It looks realistic, but if I want cool skin, I come back to Guild Wars 2.
I genuinely think that you would love Final Fantasy.
That's what a lot of people are saying in terms of a streamlined story. My issue is that I don't think I could do 2 MMOs, because I'm still pretty good with Guild Wars. I'm still invested. My brain can't take a whole lot of different.
It's not cheating. You're not married to the game. You're allowed to. You're allowed to play the field, girlfriend.
It's that I'm not as invested, and so it doesn't have the same weight. Oh, so okay. If you're giving, so when you put this on YouTube, You
Yes.
have to put your guild's name for Guild Wars 2 and apparently for Final Fantasy so that people who listen to the podcast and who like us can play with us in the
Okay.
game.
Okay. So
Okay?
Aidda, are you going to share your guild information in ESO?
I don't have one. It's not that I can
Oh.
actively give. I'm not an officer in any of them. I found that out that I don't like being an officer.
Okay. No,
I
but I
like
mean,
being the trade officer. That's about it. I don't get to have any.
would your guild not want you to do some recruiting and share their? Have they got a website? That you
No,
could, no.
no,
No.
They're all pretty casual. They all have like just a Discord, and it's just chatting, and it's we do everything in game. You don't. I mean, you don't have to like read a whole bunch of stuff for
Okay.
ESO.
I tried, guys. She's hiding. She doesn't want to play with you. She thinks you smell.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
I know no one wants to play ESO with me. I can give dots. I think I can give dots because I'm in there and I can ask.
Okay.
But
I will add this. I will unarchive.
I play with pugs. I usually play with pugs, or I have the same like training people where I don't have to look at the schedule. I just show up and I say, "Okay, troops, let's go."
Yeah.
I don't want to have to deal with any of the other stuff.
We have to slowly tease her back into the Guild Wars family as well. Come home. We have flying puppies.
I like pug life.
Yeah.
Oh, those are cute emotes.
Oh my goodness, they're so lovely. They should.
I mean, they're sad, but they're still cute. Kind of weird.
They should be bouncing around the screen. I hope I haven't turned off my Kappa Gen emote bouncer. Anyway, if someone subscribes or follows me, there's just like a burst of emojis on the screen, and you can't see anything for about 5 minutes. So,
did we miss anything in here?
I think so.
Worthwhile to chat? Sorry, we'll read.
Okay, so we're coming to the end.
Yes.
Both our voices are starting to fail, and food is starting to be required. So if you have any questions, throw them now.
Should we have our own stream about player housing and fashion? Should we do that for a separate?
Yeah, because that's a big topic. What we could do is we could jump in and out of the different games and show what they've got as well. That might be nice for the fashion and the
house
housing.
Is so tiny compared to other people's.
I have a room and at least 25% of it is taken up by a new bathtub that my family member made for me, and it was totally worth it. So, Eris,
no, I have a throne. I have a throne area, and I have little dwarven spiders.
You have a throne. Would you?
I have so if you're used to the story of Morrowind,
yeah,
you know that the dwarven like spiders and robots, like that's my house.
Oh.
I have a character that loves Salsa Seal, and so I have that whole the. Oh, now I'm reading chat. Sorry, what?
What? You could protection the stream involving you two lovely ladies. Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah. You want to do it next month on the 15th?
We could,
like another weekend.
Yeah, we can. Drop me a line as long as it's on a Saturday after. As long as it's on a Saturday after the live stream
for the guild. 13th? Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
July. Well, no, that's husband's birthday weekend, so it'd have to be the 20th. Yeah. God, I have to figure out something. I have to give a gift to my husband. I don't know what to give him. Anyways, YouTube doesn't care about that. So
no. Okay, we will schedule on our own time. Yeah.
And if you play all of the MMOs, let us know. If we miss something, we can do it for the next.
Yeah. And I will be diving back into Hellblade for some tragic melee combat in the not too distant future. Oh my god!
And I have to go raid. Not naked, but I have to go teach raid.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna end the stream. Oh, I got a subscription. Thank you very much, Grilled Flame. Look at all the emojis on the screen. It's bonkers. Right. Okay. Thank you so much. That is so sweet. We will be back.
You get to listen to it on YouTube.
Yes, I will. Most of my streams get archived. I'm gonna make sure that this one doesn't. I'm gonna put it on the stream so people can listen to us nattering on for 7 weeks about games that we love, which we could do every day.
And we always come back to Guild Wars 2 because it spoiled us fun.
Yeah, it does. Yes, more Hellblade. Oh my god, that was emotional, guys. That was emotional. Okay, so we're gonna love you and leave you. If you haven't got any questions, going once, going twice. I'm gonna let this stream delay. Just get a second. Gone. Done. Hang on. Let me just do a. We're done. What can I do for a cute Pikachu?
Pika pika!
Pika pika! Okay.
Pika pika!
Hit it like you mean it.
Hit it like you mean it. Right, okay, so I actually have some like vocal emotes. Like, anyway. So we're both gonna go. Oh, thank you for the
Bye,
follow.
internet.
Yeah.
Bye, live audience.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening to us yatter on. We love you guys. We'll be back.
We tried to read.
We did.
We tried to read.
Difficult. Okay. Adios, amigos. Bye.